The story begins in an old house in the suburbs of a city, and inside it, a man and a woman were asking to please give them just one more month. Another guy in front of him with an iron says that if he borrows money from someone, he better pay it back, even if he has to sell 1 or 2 organs. And with that crazy look, he says that maybe he needs to feel a little pain to understand what he feels when he loses money. And the woman right behind him is on the phone, and that guy sees this and takes the phone from her hand, asking what she is doing and if she is calling the police. But he told them not to do that. Only he looks at the phone and realizes she is texting her son, asking him not to come over, and he gives that crazy little smile and asks why she did not say so earlier. Maybe he should have a talk with his son too. But the mother and father are just begging not to involve their son. But that guy just tells them to tie them up so they do not make any noise, while saying they do not want Lionette's son to get scared. And to their surprise, they hear knocking at the door, and outside is the boy, their son. And before opening the door, feels something strange. And as soon as he opens it, his mother, crying, whispers for him not to come in. But as soon as he opens the door and steps inside, all those guys are hiding, and he takes off his shoes and says he has arrived. And as he takes a few steps, a guy hiding on the side comes to hit him with a baseball bat and hits him right on the head. And his mom starts screaming and crying. But to that guy's surprise, even with the bat touching his head, grabbed his shoulder and all of a sudden punched him in the face, sending him crashing to the ground. What surprises his parents the most is that villain, and he, looking at his partner's totally deformed face, wonders what that is and stares at the kid asking who he is. And the kid, very angry, just stares at all of them, and the gang leader orders them to kill him now. And 2 guys come at him with bats, but he manages to dodge one and punches the other in the stomach, breaking his rib. And after one punch, he throws another even stronger, breaking his rib even more, and the guy screams in pain. But another guy comes from above, but he grabs his leg and kicks his leg that is on the ground, breaking it. And right behind him, a guy comes to hit him with a chair and hits him right on the head, but he does not feel any pain and just glares at him with a lot of hatred, which surprises that little blonde guy who is already being thrown against the wall, while their leader can't understand what the hell is happening, and he asks what is going on, and with the knife in hand, he stares at his parents, saying he wants to see how he does when his daddy is about to die. But as soon as he looks forward with that stupid little grin, the iron is right in front of him, and the kid slams his face into it against another door in the back, which shocks his parents a lot. And after his head is stuck inside that door, that guy starts yelling, asking what he did to his neck, telling him to call the hospital. And in the middle of that scene, with all the defeated guys, the kid is really tired and he stares at his parents, aunties both, and says that if they did not want him to fight, they should not be poor to begin with. And right after he says that, he wants to be unconscious on the floor, and his mom starts screaming his name, and now he is in a huge hospital. All those guys are in the emergency room, and at the reception, there is a guy on the phone asking what all this goss is about, and the girl next to him says that apparently a kid beated 10 criminals and beat up his parent. He is just a high school student, which surprises that guy with glasses a lot. Meanwhile, on the stretcher, that boss of the criminal tells them to find the kid, kill him right now, and his accomplice tells him not to worry because he was hospitalized there too. He just turned into Big Beer behind it, so that kid is practically dead. While that guy with glasses hears this, he wonders who Big Beer is, and then he goes to the girl and asks which room he is in. She says that at the moment he is in room 202, and in this way that guy runs through the hospital thinking Big Beer of this region is one of the candidates for his main fighter, and if he is lucky, maybe he will get to see the worthy candidate. And if he makes it to the door, he thinks he feels a bit unwell because that unlucky kid got caught in the middle of all this, and so he looks inside and sees that gigantic Big Bear staring at the kid, and the brood is saying he can't believe they called him there to hit a child, and he is nothing special, but work is work. And anyway, he is a pretty interesting kid, and even seeing him, he does not feel the slightest bit scared with our kid taking that needle out of his hand and ready for the fight. Of course, leave a like on this video, help me a lot with this video, and be part of our member community to access exclusive videos every week. And so, that is it. Now let us get back to the story, and if he is ready to attack, he says he wants to show him what fear looks like, but to the guy's surprise, the kid already lunges forward to punch him in the face. Meanwhile, he is watching through the window, noticing that he is pretty quick, but the Big Bear slaps him on the head, throwing him to the ground, and the kid starts spitting blood while the guy outside says he did not stand a chance, and the brute tells him to listen. He does not care how crazy he is. If he sees him like that, he is going to hit him, and if a weak little brat thinks he is tough, he won't get anywhere. But to his surprise, he realizes he is lift. That is surprising, while the kid says if he hit as much as he talked, he would be a little more intimidating, and those punches of yours are worthless. Or it just makes Big Bear really mad while you keep talking back to him. He should keep talking and entertaining while he takes him down. While that guy outside asks if he is really serious. He is about to kill that kid, so he needs to stop him. But to both of their surprise, the kid dodges Big Bear's punch and lands a strong kick to his face, shocking that guy outside, and Brutamontes falls to the ground, while the other thinks that no one has ever been able to defeat Big Bear before. But he realizes that Brutamontes was using him to support himself, so he was not completely defeated, and if he were defeated like that, he would not have one of the strongest physiques in the country. And this way Big Bear asks, he really thought a high school could take him down easily, but without waiting another second, kid punches him in the face, while the other watches outside thinking this is impossible, and he just sees the kid beating up Big Bear. But that brute starts laughing and grabs the kid's body, saying he can't believe he has to use his finishing move on a high school punk, and the guy behind the door thinks, who has this is the Big Bear's signature move, crushes bones, and he really needs to stop him now, and Brutum laughs, says that is what he deserves. But that way, the guy opens the door telling him to stop, but Brutum does not hear anything and uses his move against the kid, which shocks that guy a lot. But to both of their surprise, that Brutum realizes something is wrong, and he can't believe it. He used all his strength, but the kid seems surprised after putting his hands on his shoulder and asks how he is moving and why his bones are still intact. And to his shock, the kid pushes him to the ground, breaking the floor and trying to break free, while Big Bear asks why he can't crush him. But that way, the kid headbutts him, while he wonders if his head is made of iron, and that way he gets another headbutt and has his face deformed. And after a third headbutt, the guy with glasses watching tells him to stop now because he is already unconscious and he needs to to shut up the sea, and if he causes more trouble, it will be hard for him to clean all of this up. And if he picks up the phone and says there is a patient in room 202 with a head injury after being hit by a car, he calls someone to attend to him while the kid asks who he is and why he is by his side. But that guy says that he does not and really would like to be by your side. Possible. And the kid asks what kind of crap he is talking about. And this way several guys enter the room and are startled by that scene. And the guy in front says patient has been burned. They will take care of him. And the guy talks to him to see if it is possible to keep Big Beer unconscious. And that guy says yeah, they will start now. And the kid watches that scene and wonders what that is. And he goes up to the guy and asks who they are. And that guy pulls out a card and says that if he works for your boss, he will be able to give him whatever he wants. And the kid takes the card and wonders what that is. And the guy in front of him says that all he needs to do is fight for him. But the kid takes the card and tells him to get out of there, saying he is not interested in fighting for money. That is a bunch of crap. But that guy thinks that his mindset will change soon. And if a kid goes to the bathroom and looks at himself in the mirror, they ask why his life is so messed up. But he really wants a promise he made to his mom to never become a loser. So to his surprise, his own father opens the bathroom door and asks what he is doing there and where he is trying to go in that condition. And the kid stares at his dad and asks him whose fault he thinks it is that he is like. And he told him he was the boxing champion. And he said there were countless teams behind him. So why are they drowning in debt? And why has not he done anything until now? And if it is really that humiliating for an ex-champion to open a small boxing gym in the neighborhood and not know why he was off the national, but he asks if his honor is more important than his poor wife, and his dad says nothing and turns away and tells him to stay in bed and not leave the hospital while he thinks that he really hates him. Only for his surprise, he feels something in his body and his head starts to hurt, and he wonders if maybe he did not sleep enough and that it was probably because of him. And he hates his dad. He can stand seeing him every time he gets hurt just to survive, and he can stand seeing him kneeling in front of the other dad, the bully, who always fights, and he does not want to depend on him at all because he does not want to see him thinking he did his part as a father. But this right here really sucks. He is trapped in this hell, and as a teenager he negotiates a job on a fishing boat to make some money and change his life, let alone cover the daily expenses. And to make matters worse, those damn bullies dug an even deeper hole for him, destroying what he had to make some money. But no matter how much he hated his dad, he could not leave because of his mom, and his life is an endless pit of despair. It is just that after those dreams, he finally wakes up in the hospital bed and wonders he really blacked out again. But it seems like he is in a different wing. They ask him how long he was out, but on his phone, he gets a message from his dad saying he thinks it is time to tell him everything. They did not meet tonight, while the kid wonders what he is hiding, and they ask if maybe it is about his mom, and he starts calling her and asks if she is okay, and she calls him yes or no and tells him not to come home because those gangsters are still waiting for them. He is very shocked, asking how so, but his mom tells him to stay in the hospital and that she moved him to a different room under a fake name. He should be safe, but he asks where she will be, and she says she is at the Selfless Motel near the police station, and asks him not to worry about it, she needs to get ready now, and she asks him please not to leave the hospital and to stay safe. And after he hangs up, they ask what kind of shit this is, and if he had not fought back, this would not have happened, and he needs to find his mom now. But as soon as he steps out of the room, he gets a call from his dad, and when he answers, a stranger's voice asks if he is Kang's son, and our boy asks who it is, and on the call, they say it is an emergency. Kang fell from the construction site and he is unconscious, which shocks the boy a lot, and from the scene, his dad's body is destroyed, and now back at the hospital, he sees his dad completely out cold, and in the conversation he had, the doctor said that the surgery is complicated and will cost 100 million woos, and he will also need a few years of rehabilitation after the surgery, and it won't be cheap. And the kid, completely stunned, starts to cry. He asks what the hell he is going to do with his life, and he, crying and in despair, thinks about what he should do and how he might supposedly get that money. But this way, he gets an idea and remembers the card he threw in the trash. So he says he needs to go back there and get that card, and if he goes straight to the room he was in before, room 202, and opening the door, he sees the trash can, and inside the trash there is nothing left, and he starts to tremble in despair and says it is all his fault and begs forgiveness for being so useless and that he does not deserve to live. But to his surprise, that guy back there asks if he is looking for that and asks if he changed his mind, and the kid desperately asks how much he can make if he works, and the guy says he can earn up to 100 billion, and if he becomes popular, he won't even need to win the tournament to get rich. And he asks what he thinks about that, and the kid looks totally surprised, not knowing what to say. And after he says that, he goes to the office, and sitting across from him, he told the kid to read calmly and sign later, and the kid asks what a combat room is, and the guy explains that it is a secret fighting tournament where fighters use special drugs provided by the hospital to gain monstrous physical ability. And the kid asks, what do you mean drug? And he does not use those, but the guy opens the briefcase and shows him everything and says that these drugs are not common, and depending on the type, they can turn an old man into Mike Tyson in his prime. But of course, using doping is not mandatory. And this worried kid asks who he is, and he says his name is Minseok King. He is a talent scout working for a VIP who is participating in the combat section, and the kid asks how he is a talent scout, but he says yeah, and the important thing now is whether he will take the drugs or not, and there has not been a single person so far who has won using drugs. But the kid says he is not interested, while Minseok assumes he might talk more when they get to the arena, and the kid thinks he really is not listening, and Minseok says he will start by explaining how they will work together, and when he enters the tournament, he can choose a sponsor if he makes it to the top 20, and he will choose his VIP as his sponsor, and they will start working together from there until he wins a tournament. And the kid says okay, he understands, but he needs money up front, but the guy says no and that it is impossible, and he will be paid through the tournament. And the kid, really pissed, asks if he is really joking joking with, so why? He would work with him. But the boss tells him to calm down and asks if he still needs the money for his dad's surgery and a safe place to stay. And the kid asks how he knows that, and Muck says they will arrange the accommodation and cover the costs of his dad's surgery while he is fighting for his boss. And they will also protect him from the gangs. And the kid asks if he can really trust him. But at that moment he gets a call, and it is his mom, and without him answering, he asks what the problem is, and she tells him that some guys paid for her father's surgery, and she asks what is going on. And there are also several security guards who said they are there because of her, and he does not know what plane, and just stares at Mess, telling him that the house is already ready, so he does not need to worry about her. And as he can see, they do not have many options, just like him. And our guy is on the phone with his mom saying he hired those security guard, and he is on his way, so she should just do what they ask. But she asks what he means, and he just says he will call her later. And after he hangs up, he stares at Misok and asks what is so valuable for the prize, 10 billion. And Misok says the 10 billion is just the base prize, and depending on how much they bet on him, he can win even more. And there have been champions who won over 15 billion, and he says that is impossible. But Miss says it is very possible, and it can't be enough considering the risks the fighters have to take, which leaves him confused. And Mook continues saying that most participants either get injured or die during the tournament. And in the last competition, the chance of participants leaving without serious injury was only 10%. And that does not make sense. And since the tournament is kept secret, when so many people are dying, like Miluk says that is exactly why. The tournament is kept secret because they are all dead. What shocks the boy is when Muck says that when he signs there, first thing they will do is create an alibi. He asks, what do you mean an alibi? And Miss explains to him, hospital organizes this tournament precisely because it is easy to enter the cause of someone's death. And to create an alibi, you need to be caught on camera making a purchase with a credit card, anything that provides your location. And so they manage to invent the cause from that, ranging from a disappearance to death by falling, illness, or drug overdoses. I do not ask then if he would report this to the police. And Miss says that is not a problem. It is pretty easy to make someone look crazy drug addict, and he thinks that anyone would believe the little teenager without any evidence. And he says he believes it would be a problem for him later considering he will be declared dead for having the chance to report. And M says that this is the advantage of having a hospital organizing the tournament. And he says that usually the decision is yours and asks he is willing to sign this contract. And he is sure he needs some time to think. But to his surprise, his yes tells him to keep his word. And Missa, smiling, just watches him sign the contract. But to the boy's surprise, a nurse appears behind him and with a syringe, she injects something right into his neck, and he asks what they are doing. But to his surprise, his vision gets blurry, and he starts to fall asleep. And his yes tells him not to worry because they are just taking him to the arena. And he must remember, they will take care of his relative while he participates in the tournament. And he hopes that he wins and solves all his problems. And after a while he starts waking up. They ask where he is and if he really died. But as soon as he opens his eye, they ask who these guys are and where they are taking him. But he gets really scared. A very strange corridor comes into view, and he asks them where he is and his belief inside because he will find out soon. But he has embodied his and welcomes him to hell. And now it is a building of the Haas company. The second son of the Reo-seong group, director Yeoncha, says that he understands that he has taken down Big Bear, but asks about recruiting a child as his main fighter. And Misik said yeah, but his brother, the vice president, might end up bothering them because of this. And so, an annoyed director then asks why he did that. And MK stares and says that his brother is obsessed combat wing, and if they want him to join their bet, they need to appear weak. The more trades they appear to make, the better. And the director asks if he really thinks this child is the key to defeating his brother. And Misik says he examined his body after he survived Big Bear's bone break, and what he discovered was extraordinary. And the director asks what it was, and now he wakes up with a shoe in front of him. They are asking who that guy is, but those extras in white back there are telling him to go back. He says it was a joke and tells him to relax while a drone is watching them, saying it is confirmed that the player is conscious, and he does not ask what this thing is or where the hell he is, and he does not understand what the problem is with this school uniform. And that drone says they will now proceed first round of random confrontation, and he explains that the first round will serve as a qualifier for them to determine which of the 200 fighters is fit to enter the main arena. And he sees a box next to him, and inside it is that drug, and that drone says each player will receive a random drug designed to enhance one of their physical abilities. And now they will open the betting table for the VIPs watching, and he asks them to please proceed with the drug administration. While it is thought that he has already broken his promise to stay out of trouble and graduate, he at least needs to keep his promise not to use drugs for his mom. And in this way he hears scream, and when he looks, that guy injected the drug into his body, and he starts to feel strange symptoms and begins to laugh, saying it is a strength drug, which shocks him, asking what his problem is. But to his surprise, that guy comes at him with it to his, but the boy manages to dodge it. They ask, what the hell is this? What if he is really a monster? And he is completely different from before, when he was just a skinny kid. And they ask if the drug really improved his muscles or something like that. And this drone calls that guy Exolan and says he managed to strengthen his power. And he says he knew it. It seems like luck is on his side, but it is a curse. He can't get out of this place now, and he would love to go to show everyone who called him a twig. He already faced them and says now he has to kill a child. But to his surprise, our boy went to punch him, and he was startled and then took a few steps back. And Rand calls him a brat and asks if he really wants to mess with him and if he thinks he is better than him. While he thinks that, as he imagines, his reaction time is still the same, and if he closes the distance, he has a chance to hit him. But to his surprise, that guy is already right on top, ready to punch him, throwing a punch to his head. While the boy thinks he is not reacting enough to the attacks from this monster either, but he braces his hand on the ground and tries to, but the guy, who is faster than, punches him in the back. back. He spits blood. That guy grabs him by the feet and says that unlike him, he does not even need to pay attention to his moves to fight. This can overpower him with his strength, already throwing him against the ground, and his beaten up self only sees that guy right above him, saying that he is really a fun guy and he wants to see how many bones he can break, and with a big leap, he says he is stronger than him now and will take them all out, already crushing his new friend's arm, and right above the boy, he says that if he is going to destroy someone, the thorax is always the way to go, and after he steps on the boy's chest, the scene cuts back to Misuk talking to the principal, with him saying that what he discovered was extraordinary. He is 10 times stronger than an ordinary human, and the principal asks, "What do you mean?" Enro Miley said, "Who is bone density. He is not human, and he is definitely from outside this world." And going back to the present, he does not react, grabbing Han's leg. This surprises that guy, and the brutally goes to try to kick, but he manages to dodge and tries to grab his leg again, but he dodges and takes a few steps back, while he, worried, wonders how he survived that, and he did not even use the drug. This camp, he must have survived because he did not use it enough. But on the other hand, the boy thinks that this monster definitely got slower, and it must be because his stamina was not improved, and if he can hit him just right, he will have a chance. He should use quick punches instead of more powerful ones, and this way he goes after Han, but Han, angry, says that he really came back for more and tries to grab, but his dodge avoids it and punches him in the face, and then Ran tries to catch him from below, but his dodge jumps and punches him in the face again, and he starts throwing several consecutive punches to his face, and while the guy is falling, our boy thinks that now is the decisive moment, only for his shock, Ran was just pretending and grabbed both of his arms saying he caught, and he did not even realize he was being hit on purpose, and Sen does not ask if it is true, and if he really thought he would let himself caught, and Ran asks, "What do you mean?" And our boy asks he knows why kangaroos immobilize their opponent's hand for hitting them, and Han asks, "What do you mean?" Just for him not to jump and kick him right in the face, which deforms his mouth and he falls to the ground badly hurt, thinking he can get up, and he wonders why his body is not listening and how he to lose to a guy who did not even use the drug, only to his surprise, he ended up next to the box of his dodge and sees another drug, and he says that of course, one dose is not enough to unlock all of your talent, so he takes another drug, and our boy thinks he is trying to take the drug he did not want, and he has to stop him now, but then Han drives it into his neck, while the drone says the player successfully obtained a stamina upgrade, and that way he quickly throws the boy up, giving him a headache in his stomach, and then grabbing him by the arms and leg, asking who says he is just a tough guy, and that way he throws him to the ground and his nose starts bleeding again, and the drone stares at him, but Ran tells the drone to get out of there, because he is not done yet, and there is one thing he has to do. He is always at the back of the line to do that, and if he chokes the boy and says that this is the feeling, he knows that stubborn rats like him must be exterminated for their own good, while our girl on the edge of death thinks about her father, and that way the environment calms down with the two of them lying on the ground, and the drone watches, saying that with the players, the game has come to an end, and observing that scene, the director asks, "What do you mean the player died, and what the hell is happening?" And Misuk says it was because of an overdose, and the survival rate after taking 2 drugs at once is less than 0.5%, and he had already succeeded in taking the power drug, so he took the stamina boost that was meant for him, and his death was inevitable, and the director says that the opponent took his own life, and he has to admit, that kid is lucky, and Miluk says it would be foolish to claim that the victory was just luck, given their shared nature, and the director says that still, this can only mean that he has stronger bone, and he should know that there are monsters even stronger in this tournament, and still, current drug can enhance muscle, organ, hormone, practically anything, except for one thing, stronger bones cannot be obtained with drugs, and there must be a reason behind this, and the director says he thinks he wants to see the useful one. He will be when he reaches the main stage, and this one asks him what will be the boy's next schedule, and Misuk says he has already passed the drug test round, so he will receive treatment for any urgent injury, and then he will fight against all the monsters who gained power, which only God knows what, and now in the combat class. In the treatment room, our boy wonders what is happening, and if he is really dead, and if it was because of, and he was just trying to erase him, and he almost died, but he thinks not, he needs to face reality. He is the only one who can save his family, and he angrily confronts that drone, and the drone says that all the winners from the previous rounds are already ready, and asks him to please head to the Sagao, and that guy in the white coat says that from now on, this guide will tell him everything he needs to know, so he has to follow the instructions given to him, and everything will be fine, and all the guides are lethal weapons, so he should not try anything funny, and as his new follows the drone, they leave the room and ask what place that is, and where the hell they shoved him. It is some kind of underground tunnel, so they really do not want them to escape, but he thinks it is a drag. He wanted at least to call his mom, but he thinks his parents must be fine, since they agreed to take care of their safe while he is there. He has to survive, no matter what happens, but this is not the fight he was expecting, and besides that, he thought he was the only terrifying monster in the neighborhood. It is still very strong, and he asks how many more monsters there are, and so, the drone says that the player has arrived, and the Sagao will be open now, and as the gate opens, who is going to enter it? They ask what the hell that is, but he sees several other drones, and the main drone says that the players have entered the lobby, and they will start the game with a total of 124 participants, and the explanation will start soon, and he asks them to please gather around the screen, and our boy is in the middle of several completely monstrous brutes, and he is wondering what the hell is going on, and they are completely different from the guy he met in the first round. He has to stay out of the spotlight until the official match starts to avoid getting hurt out of nowhere, but right next to him, a guy calls him kid. I ask how he got there and if he wants to play with daddy, and our boy thinks he stands out too much wearing that uniform, and as he walks, some guys say they heard that the kid only got there after the opponent took 2 drugs and died, and he did not take any drugs. He is still in his school uniform, and it seems like some jerks wanted to see something tragic happen, and the other one says he was getting bored, and this kid could be his entertainment, but right behind him, he tells him to wait because it seems someone is about to grab him, and as his new friend walks by, someone calls out to him asking if he wants him to play with him, and our boy thinks it is a mess, and right after that that guy puts one in your head and says he is really leaving him with no option. Kill him. Thinks that to survive against these wild, he has to take it to the next level. And while that guy is about to attack, his N also gets ready to punch him. And at the moment the two were ready to fight, someone stops them. And the big guy asks what he is doing. And the guy with glasses says he should stop right there. While Brutamonitz grabs his hand and with a little smile asks who he is. And the guy says he is just a kid and then lets go of his hand. And this giant says he is just a halfling with an upgraded arm. And if he really thinks he can face him, he asks if he wants to do that for that useless kid. And our boy thinks he needs to ignore them. He can't risk getting hurt now. And the two are already ready to face off. While now he thinks it is crap. He can't take this anymore. And when he was about to jump into the fight, a shot was fired. And when he looks, that drone shoots the guy in the head and says the meeting will start soon. And those who attack others outside the established time will be executed immediately with a crowd of armed drones right in front of them. And so, Sleep asks how they can kill someone like that out of nowhere and if it is really possible to get out of there alive. And in this way, the ticket shows a person saying that they are all very well and maybe they are noted. But the drug test was an event without elimination as long as they survive. However, from now on, they will be eliminated as soon as they lose. And elimination means that they will be physically unable to fight. And despite the risk, everyone gathered there for the prize of 10 billion won and everyone starts celebrating. Deep down, the boy thinks that with this money, his family will be able to live a good life. And that guy on the screen says that, unfortunately, only one person will be able to receive this prize, but they should not worry because if they survive after reaching the top 16, they will receive 5% of the money bet by the VIP, and each player will have a personal broadcast channel and a guide who will guide them and act as their camera for the broad. And this guy does not understand what these drones are, and the guy on the screen says that the VIPs will watch players' channel that they believe will win and will place bet. And to summarize, the more attention he gets, the more money he will earn. So he hopes they can attract the VIPs to their channels and earn a fortune, and they will provide a dormitory for 5 who will stay together until the end of the game. They should feel free to choose their roommate, and any questions will be answered by the guy. And now he asks them to please go into their room. And those two guys from before, they say they need to find the big shot. They want the attention of the VIPs. They do not want to share a room who is not going to bring anything to the table. Meanwhile, our irritated boy thinks it is really messed up and it won't be easy to find a room. But to his surprise, that muscular old man tells him not to worry and that he will protect him until the tournament starts. And our boy only sees his hand shake. But when he looks, a blonde guy walks by him and he tries to recognize, thinks it can't be. And that old man says it looks like there is a room there where they can go in without competition. While he wonders if he will really share a room when everyone is avoiding and he even got hurt because of it. He does not know what his deal is, but it will be dangerous depending on the room he chooses. And that guy asks if he is not coming. And the guy says he is on his way while the two brute guys lead the way. They say it is a disaster and they will definitely end up bottom of the rank. And he says that is why he chose a room with players thinks will be popular and it would be too risky to share a room with, but they might appear a little on their broadcast. And another guy says he agrees and bets that those muscle heads will swarm the VIPs like fly. And now in another room, there are 3 huge rip guys and that blonde guy from before walks through the door and then closes it. He goes up to the guy in the center and says that this seat looks good and he can move a little to the side. But that guy gets up and says he closed the door before the cameras even got in and if he is really asking to be killed. But to his surprise, that blonde guy with 2 fingers attacks right at his neck and after a simple attack, he falls to the ground unconscious with his neck crushed. And so he asks if anyone else wants to greet him and the two, trembling with fear, say no. He says that is good. They should keep silent, saying there is someone else he needs to greet. And that blonde is Minch, 19 years old. And now back to the city. Inside the car, Minsik says there is a source saying the vice president will work previous champ, a Choi. And the director says that is crap and no one else will be able to work. And meanwhile, the only option he has is a high school student. And the MEMC says that if his does not make it to the top 16, he will have another chance to dope. And with his physical structure, he will be able to extract the maximum possible from the improvement. And his bones are already 10 times stronger than others. So if he uses the drug, he will be the most powerful of all time. And the director says he needs to keep him on his side until then. But he says the other VIPs might end up interested in. But Muck says he thinks that 1T be a problem. And the 5 people sharing the room with him had the lowest number of views in the last round, which surprises the director a lot. And now in his room, that old man says it seems they will have problem getting views and everyone will gather around the championship candidate. But what they have there is a fighter who is being underestimated for being the only woman in the tournament. And her name is Amanda Grossi, 23 years old, lawyer and jiu-jitsu fighter. And the other fighter with the lowest profile in the tournament, Minen King, 25 years old, boxer. And finally, more or less important, the man of 28 who is a complete nut. And so 5 drones enter the room and the old man says the guides are there to film and they need to get attention. They want to make any money from the bet. That is right. The old man extends his hand and takes a big leap, supporting his hand on the ground and starts doing push-up one hand. And our boy says he thinks that is not going to work while he watches that girl getting up and she stretches out a finger and digs it into the floor and stands up on just one finger. And Seonu wonders how she can lift her body with just one finger like that. And so the two start doing push-up and the boy next to them says that showing off like that is just for idiot. And he simply runs at a monstrous speed and then returns. What really scares our boy is wondering how he is able to be this fast. But he looks to the side and sees that completely crazy guy trying to lick his elbow. He just stares at that scene, not understanding anything. And I think that is both amazing and ridiculous at the same time. And with that, their room door is closed and on the TV above, it shows their match and they all see their opponent, including the guy with the X mark on his head that they are going to face. And now back in the building, the director asks if this Kai guy is strong and Muck says that since he was a left-way fighter, he has never lost a single fight. And the director asks, what is this left-way? And Misuk explains that it is a Burmese combat sport similar to white, but there are some differences that make left-way even more brutal and dangerous. And the director asks if Daigo is enough, considering it is one of the few sports that allows the use of elbows and knees. And Miss says that there are even more things allowed in lightweight, and they do not even often use gloves and allow head and strikes to the head with the forehead, one of the strongest bones in the human body, which can cause fatal injury, and that is why the majority of sports and combat prohibit it. However, the most dangerous part of letway is something else, and the director asks what it is, and Muck says what is really dangerous is how fighters can hit the back of their opponent's head, and almost all combat sports prohibit, as it can cause paralysis or even death, and he is probably the participant with the most experience in combat among the other participants in the fighting area, as he continued to fight even after his career ended when he was recruited by a gang, and the director asks how so, and he says he thinks he was not satisfied fighting in the ring, and he challenged several famous street fighters until the gang noticed, and the director asks thinks he can take on a guy like that, and Muck says that is what he would like to know too, and so far he has not faced people like Big Bear and the lone sharks who do not have martial skill. This guy, the letway fighter, is completely different. And now back to the combat dormitory. Everyone is sleeping in the capsules, and when our girl wakes up, the capsule lifts and he wonders how long he has been asleep, but he notices that his body feels lighter, and is not just that it seems lighter, it is something he can understand, but he thinks it really is. It is not the first time this has happened, and when he faced Big Bear, he woke up like this too, and it is as if he is stronger, and that little guy back there tells him not to be surprised, and that pushing muscles to the limit is not enough to cause damage, and they are destined to recover stronger than before, and he probably has never pushed his strength to the limit until now, and our boy thinks that is exactly it. He was at his limit when he fought Big Bear, and V says that even so, he recovered insanely fast, and he asks if he got some recovery enhancement drug, but that does not stop, and he says that more important than that, he wanted to ask something since yesterday, and why he tried to help him even risking getting hurt, and the guy says that the thing is he reminds him a lot of his son, and if he had been a better father, probably would not have to borrow money from loan shark, and our boy asks, so why did he enter the tournament, and the guy says it is because he needs to pay off his debt first, so that his family can go back to normal, but when he saw him standing there alone, he remembered his son that he neglected for so long, he could not just stand by and do nothing. This not only tells him to stop wasting his time with him, and if he wants to be a good father, then he should get out of here and be a real dad. It won't do any good if he ends up dying there. What really surprises that guy is just staring at, and if he grabs him by the neck and says he talks like is the end of the world when he just went to help, and it is nothing serious. It is just that this way they both start to see that Menon is complaining a lot and asking why he is not fighting in the main arena, and he says they are a bunch of idiots, and he is the fighter who can touch his elbow with his tongue, and the old man says he heard that his fights with many spectators happen in the main arena, and the others will take place in the same place as the previous round, and speaking of which, they are a group with the least number of spectators, and the fact that they are all fighting in the main mine, except for Menon, means that their opponents are some of the strongest and most popular fighters, and Soner says that this is the best for them, and the old man asks what he is talking about, and our guy says this is their chance to draw attention to their dorm, and he looks at him and asks he is crazy, and this way Menon goes up and says that there are not just haters in the main arena, and our boy gets scared right away, and Menon says there will be 16 VIPs in person, and they are some of the most powerful in the world, and our boy Quentin means that talent scout will be there too, and he really wants to know how his mom is doing, and now, somewhere else at night, that director and Mock are inside a warehouse, and the director asks why he told them to come there, and what a disgusting place this is, and Misak says that no one knows the location of the combat wing, except for the organizer, and so they probably wanted to meet them in a place where they would not be seen, but he realized that from a certain point on, someone besides them started watching their channel, and the director asked, what do you mean? What if someone is investigating? To his surprise, someone up there tells him he had a misunderstanding, and that this girl is the youngest daughter of the Rawson group, Seongun, who is 19 years old, and she says she is watching because she found his nude interest, and the director says it has not been long since she was expelled from the company, and the question she is asking is following him like a rat, and Buck says that his younger sister must really be interested in what he does, but the director says she is not his sister, she is the daughter of a mistress, and the girl goes up to him and says he was a bit hard, and she did not even go to school just to help her two brothers with the business, but it seems that at least she found something interesting thanks to him, so she thinks she will have to thank your brother, but the director says he does not know what she is up to again, but it is better for her to disappear now. Just then a car enters the warehouse, and a drone appears, saying they will escort to the main arena, and after they got into the car, they went straight to the location, and if someone says they can take off the blind after the girl removes, she sees a huge window and asks what place this is, and then she realizes she is in an underground arena, and the guard next to her says is below the main arena, and she is currently in one of the 16 VIP rooms, and Grota says that she is finally in her brother's playground, and now in the director's office. He says it is bigger than he expected, and Misak says that when this game ends, the fight from room 10 will begin, which is the sweet one, but to the director's surprise, he sees a lot of debris down there, and when he looks, that little blonde one from before easily defeated a brute, and he worriedly asks who that monster is, and Muck says that is Mon, and it seems another person the same age as your buddy is there, and the director asks if he is really another student, and Muck says he dropped out of school, so technically no, but it is strange that two monsters come from the same school, and the director asks what do you mean, and Muck says that this kid Mint is from the same school as Seon, and that blonde guy is staring at that guy lying on the ground, and the drone behind him says that with Minshuran's victory, the match between room 9 and room 20 has ended, and the match between room 10 and room 3 will start now, and the participants must enter the arena, and when they pass through the door, they are very surprised to see that gigantic arena, and the old man says that this is on a completely different scale from the first round, and the drone says that everyone besides player Min King must wait their turn, and that kid is down there waiting for his fight, and the drone tells the players that the matches have already ended, they must leave the arena now, and so that blonde guy walks past the kid, while the old man thinks he hopes Minho does not get nervous, but to his surprise, something was thrown at him, and he wonders where he saw that stone, while he stares at that kid and asks he really saw that, pretended to mess with his hair, and at the same time threw a stone at his own, and that guy is really impressive, and most people did did not notice at that speed, and so the blonde passes by and says that the kid in his group is pretty arrogant. But M says he does not think so, and the blonde asks what he means, calling him an idiot, and Minsu says that is impossible, just staring at Minho, and this M takes a few steps back, while V asks what happened and what M is doing. Amanda says it was nothing, and he is sensitive enough to notice even the smallest change, so no, the assassin should be obvious, and after that guy turns around again and walks through the door, and M is asked what that and if it was just his imagination, but he is sure he saw that scene in his head, and they ask if that is really the best he can do, and how he is going to get revenge being so weak, only to his surprise, right behind him, a guy asks what he is staring at, and M sees a huge brute, and in one of the rooms, president of the Sungan Hotel, the Seongo he recruited, thinks his skills are a sport without attacking, and the little guy behind says it does not matter how good the opponent is at attacking, but all of this becomes useless when a Waller manages to immobilize, and when he grabs his prey, there are various techniques to use, like throw, lock, and immobilization, and the opponent won't be able to withstand all of that, and that is exactly why so many wrestlers excel in mixed martial art, and in fact, wrestling is the most essential skill for establishing oneself when training in mixed martial art, and a person can even defend themselves against a full body advance. But that is another story, especially if it is a wrestler attacking, and this applies even more when there is such a size difference with that giant facing the minion. This drone says both competitors are ready. They are about to start the match between Mer King and Piz, and that kid is setting up base, and the smiling pass asks if he is a rookie boxer. He looks like one of those weaklings who has never fought without gloves, and he almost feels sorry for him when he faces him right away, only to his surprise, Minho punches him and his eye gets injured and starts bleeding, and he is screaming, wondering what is that, while he asks me who he called weak, and the dad is very scared by that, thinks he needs to focus and keep at least one eye on him, and he sees Minho charging at him and thinks it is a problem. He can't keep up with his move, and he was attacking from his blind spot. He's too fast, and at that moment he gets another punch to the face, right on his injured eye, and then he lands a punch right on his nose. Only at that moment does he try to grab, but M manages to dodge and keeps hitting him in various parts of his body, while the dad thinks what a problem. He is losing vision in the other eye too, and if I could see the minion completely blurred, and up there in the arena, V asks if minion is really going to finish him off like that, but the girl says no. The dad starts blocking his blow, and the dad is there blocking Minho's punches. He starts trying to grab him with various distractions without even seeing clearly, and the scared me wonders what that is. He was attacked, but something ended up happening, and the dad wonders what is happening to him, but he says yeah, that is when he started losing vision in his other eye too, and he froze as if he had been shocked. So that is the feeling, and he thinks that okay, he is going to close his eyes, and Miss asks what he is doing, and how he is going to fight with his eyes closed, and he says that now he is practically already won, but to his surprise, even with his eyes closed, the dad manages to defend his blow, which surprises that Vip and Minho's roommates a lot. Emma thinks that if he holds on now, he will definitely die, and he needs to go left, and if he takes a step to the left, parents manage to block him too and spin his body, throwing him up, and then falling on him on the ground, and the old man says that was a suplex, and he got stronger when he lost his eye, and that Vip starts laughing at that scene, while the guy in the back says it looks like the loss of vision activated the effects of the sensory enhancement drug, and M completely defeated, and the dad smiling says he should thank, because without his help he would not have discovered his power, but to his surprise, Mind lands another punch on his eye and manages to hit him, and now he is without both eyes, and that Vip asks what the hell he is doing and how he lost both eyes, and seeing that scene, the old man is happy saying he can't believe Mayan survived that hit. He does not know how he did it, but if he keeps this up, he might win, and the guy in the back of the Vip says luckily he won't have a chance to defeat him since he is unconscious, and the Vip asks, what do you mean? What if he did not see? He throws that punch, and this minion his arm raised, and Amanda says he needs to wake up soon before the dad finds him, and if that father gets up and tries to find the boy in some way without his sight, and if the father says it is drug, he can't see anything, but he tries to use his sensory vision and manages to see something on the ground. They ask what all of this is. He can smell everything from the ground to the smallest grain of sand. He can hear his opponent's breathing. He can feel the air pressure changing as he moves, and can even feel what is behind him. He is very excited, saying that this is really insane, and he starts laughing, saying he was disappointed when he did not get the strength drug. This is even better, and he is getting stronger by the minute, and he says that yeah, as a thank you gift, he will end his life now, already heading in the direction where Min is and making a big leap. Inside Min's head, he dreams that no, his buddy can't react, and he remembers his brother completely defeated and dead in front of him, while thinking that he will find them, no matter what happens. And if a guy goes up to him saying that if he wanted to find his brother's killer, he should go there, giving him the combat card, and he already notices father jumping in front of him, and just when he was about to finish him off, Mil wonders why everything is moving so slow, but he thinks no, he's not slow, he has become super fast, and in this way, the dad finished his attack, but M managed to wake up in a which surprises the three of them a lot, and the dad wonders when he got there, and M says that when he was bragging about his senses, he had plenty of time to rest and came back brand new, and the dad thinks he is not lying, he is even faster than before, and if a kid says he wants to see how long he can hold out, he is going to start at level 1, and the dad thinks he is coming, but to his surprise, he is faster than he can perceive, but even so, the dad managed to block, and the kid thinks he reflected his punch. This makes him wonder was a coincidence, but after that, he reflected another punch, and he thinks great, he is going to take this seriously now, and he tried to punch him in the face. The dad managed to dodge, and already tried to grab him again, but in this way, Minho took a few steps back and wonders how he is keeping up with his speed, while the dad thinks he can feel everything from his heartbeat to his movement, and now he can lose, and he has no blind spots, and M thinks that then he has no chance unless it is for real. He needs to take a risk and go straight at him with maximum speed, and if he charges at the dad at high speed thinking he will use his finishing move, the right straight, but at that moment he realizes something, and it was his dad hitting him with a punch to the face, and after M falls to the ground, his dad wonders why he fell in the middle of his attack, while the kid gets up again and wonders what is going on and if he is okay, and he thought his neck had been been broken, and they wonder if maybe he is hallucinating. But his dad thinks he had finished the attack. He would have broken his neck in two, but he believes tripping saved his life, and this kid is really lucky. While the old man says it is a drug, the speed of the minion is not working against him, and it seems like somehow he can feel the attack before it arrives. But he notices something strange and sees a minion in 3 different positions. They ask what that is, and suddenly he stopped using the power of the drug and is relying only on his movement, and he wonders if he is too tired to use his super speed. But he sees those movements and does not understand what it is and asks what he is going to do at normal speed. He already sees the minion ready to attack, but he tells him to stop, saying he is going to die this up. But to everyone's surprise, Kid hit a token full on P, forming his face, and after that crouch down, dodging pipe, and then he starts circling him in various positions. He can't understand where he is, but M is getting more tired than before, and V wonders why he is doing that, and he can't maintain his speed. And how is he going to land a hit like this, using all his energy on these? Only to his surprise, he lands another hit squarely, and he is left wondering what that was. And the kid continues hitting him in various positions, while the dad can't T-block, and V wonders why the blows using feints are working. And the girl says he is only landing the hit because of the feint. He subconsciously stopped using the feint because he thought his opponent had lost sight, but that made it predictable. And then the old man asks if he is tricking his opponent as if he can see, and he says it is nothing more than that. Mill is fooling all of P.S. senses with his new power. It is easy for P to anticipate the route of an attack, but he just awakened this power. When he faces advanced feint skills like Minho, his mind starts to get distracted. Just like M is causing chaos, use the dad. He managed to understand how many moves the country will be able to anticipate in such a short time, and that minion child might be stronger than they imagine. How? By dodging yet another attack and then landing another. Killed the dad, and his little Vip up their ass. The hell is this? And how can he bet on the loser and can't even beat a child? But one of them says no, and he asks him to look at his face, wondering if it looks like he is going to lose. While the dad is saying he just caught him, he managed to grab him and starts shouting that the victory is his, and after he grabs him, he spins around and slams the minion's head into the ground, shocking his roommates and also the little Vip. And the guy sees that scene of the boy's body dispersing. He says that now he is sure he caught him, but to his surprise, Kid is right in front of him just staring at, and our guy suddenly asks why he did a backdrop, and the girl said it was because the minion attacked brain. He asks, what do you mean? And she says that the minion was attacking the dad's head multiple times, and with each, the dad's brain was shaken, and if he kept being attacked non-stop like that, even a person with sharpened senses would not be able to maintain focus. And that is how the minion caused a failure in the P's sense. That was enough to make him think he really caught someone when he did not, and our boy thinks this is surprising, and maybe he is stronger than he is, and Minson is facing the piece, while the brute thinks this is very unfair and that his sense is better than yours. And after that moment he falls to the ground unconscious, and then the drone goes and says that the country is unable to continue the battle. Therefore, the winner of the match is the minion, and that old man starts to celebrate. While he lives up there, he says this is a drag, and after minion wins, he is completely worn out and thinks about his brother saying he took first step. And now in another VIP room, that girl says this is not a fight between humans, and it makes sense that your brother is so obsessed with this tournament. The security guard next to her says it is not just the match. This place can sponsor everything the rich desire, not just wealth and power, but also allows them to commit murders without a trace and use substances that are undetectable in any test. And this place is paradise for the rich, who have nowhere else to find pleasure, and that is why the VIPs put their pride and risk there. And she says it is understandable why your second brother beating your older brother. And the security guard says yes. He is sure the director carefully chose your fighter since his talent scout is someone well known in this place. I was going to say yes, that is why they are moving, but they will have to see how good he really is in the next match. And now in another room, there is a guy watching the broadcast of that fight, and a doctor behind him calls him the floor director, saying that the 16 VIPs are present, and this masked guy here thinks they have already arrived, and he believes they will have good results this year. And he asks how the research results are going, and the doctor says they managed to confirm the manifestation of the second stage sensory improvement and discovered the temporary side effect, which was reduced by almost 20%. However, the regenerative effect they are looking for has not appeared among the participants yet, and the masked guy says it is a failure, but he says it is not. The maximum effect of the drugs should start to appear by now, and then their efforts should bear fruit soon. And besides that, they discovered a new effect of the drugs, and after examining closely, they believe they may have uncovered some clues about the regenerative ability. And the masked guy asks if he is talking about the skin strengthening effect, and he says yeah, then asks when he can expect to see that power in action. And the doctor says soon, because the next fighter in the main arena is Kai, and now our boy is stretching for his fight, and the old man says that if it gets too hard, he can give up, but the boy says that is not going to happen, and it should not. The old man asks why he is not scared at all, and he seems pretty relaxed. This does not mean he is just not afraid. The old man, quite surprised, says that he must be one of the weird ones, and if the drone goes up and says later, if Kang should enter the arena, he walks through the door and wonders, since when he stopped being afraid, and when he was young he had been in many accidents people could not even imagine, and even in accidents that seemed fatal, he always got up just fine. At first he would cry from the shock, but after a few years, no matter the danger, he would not be shaken. Bullies would try to mess because of his attitude, but it did not matter how much they tried. He would not even flinch, and in the end, they ended up being scared of him. But the only thing he fears now is the safety of his family. An opponent like him falls down gigantic right in front of him, and they stare each other down in the middle of the arena. And this director says it is finally starting, and he asks his assistant which drug Kai used, and Muck says he took the skin strengthening drug that has never been seen before. And the director asks what that is, and if it will help him in the fight. And Minek says that it not only helped, but his last opponent had his skin and muscles ripped apart. And the director asks how the skin strengthening caused that, and he says that his skin cannot be harmed by regular human strength, but he was so strong that when the opponent lightly cut it, not only did the skin tear, but even the muscles were shredded. And several of the normal guys are interested in betting on, and the director then asks who they will bet on. Professional fighter Kai with Bell's strengthening power app, if it is really the right decision to bet on him or not, and Mino, who said that just as he predicted, everyone is betting on Kai, but on the contrary, there was no bet on. Much to his surprise, someone bet on the kid, and they ask who it is and ended up betting 100 million on him. And the really pissed off guy asks who it was, and now in his sister's room, her bodyguard asks if she is sure about. She says she can't expect a reward without taking some risk, and besides that, she trusts her intuition and she won't be able to reach her brother. She does not try to risk things, so she wants to see if he really will give her a good return, or if it will just be too high a risk bear. And now back in the arena, the drone goes to them and says the fight is about to start now, and our guy sets up his base and thinks he has to prepare anyway, while Kai just stares without making any move. This does not ask if he is really not going to prepare for the fight, and he asks him what he is doing and if he is not going to fight, and Kai says that he is a warrior, not a thug who hits kids, and our boy is really pissed off, and if a Kai goes up to him and says that a hit with 1/10 of his strength is what he is going to give him now, he should not get up, calling him a child, and with that, he kicks him in the stomach, sending him flying away. Seeing that scene, the director gets very worried, and our boy on the ground feels a lot of pain. The director says that he is suffering so much after just one hit, and the outcome of this match is obvious, since the old man in the stand says it is a joke and he needs to get out of there now. But to his surprise, Min behind him says that he is not screaming in pain, and he is sure that Seonu noticed this, and Kai did not want to attack, he just wanted to scare him. And V asks if he is saying that Kai is trying to help his end, but M says he just does not want to fight because it would be embarrassing. And the old man asks he mean, and he says he thinks it would be bad for his reputation to seriously fight against a high schooler. So basically he is telling his to accept his defeat, and if a guy goes up to him and asks if he is serious, he was supposed to pretend to faint and not just keep screaming in pain. He can scream as much as he wants, it won't make any difference, and he will give him another chance. But Deshi starts making fun of Kai and asks he is really trying to win the debate, which surprises Kai a lot, and he says fine. Then he thinks he did not hit him hard enough, and he is going to show a taste of his strength, so he should do his part from now on and go after him to his fate. But our boy quickly blocks his attack, which surprises the girl and the director and his roommate, and our girl jumps while Kai yells that he told him not to get up, and he spins around and tries to elbow our boy, but he managed to dodge while Kai wonders how he turned his head so much, and in that way, right above him, our boy slaps his head, which surprises the director a lot, and his sister is very happy watching that fight. And a guy says that he told him he would give him another chance, while our boy says he can keep talking about chances or whatever, but he asks if it is not a bit ironic coming from a guy who just knelt down to a high schooler, which shocks Kai a lot. And Sun says that if he is weak enough to kneel in front of him, he does not deserve to take any punch from him, and Kai says that if he can even pretend to save his own skin, he thinks then that he has no choice. He is going to give him a little help and make him try. And Naskrot wonders what he is doing and how he can't move, and Kai says he is going to use % of his strength, and our kid thinks it is a joke, already getting a headbutt from Kai and falling to the ground. Kai, scared, wonders what the hell is this, and what is this pain, and if he really used too much strength. But to his surprise, our kid pushes himself off the ground and tries to kick his face, but Kai dodges. This does not give a big leap, while Kai thinks he did not even feel his headbutt, and is this really possible? And our kid stands up again and thinks it is a joke. His vision is blurry, but to his surprise, he already sees Kai right in front of him, throwing a punch at his chest and ripping open his shirt. And the old man says that Kai's fist just grazed, but his shirt tore like it was shredded. And M says he is not done yet, and then Kai came in with a kick from below and gave a knee right to our kid's stomach, making him spit blood. And right after that, he is ready to land an elbow on the back of his neck, and the old man starts yelling at him to stop, or he is going to kill him. But not caring about any, he smashes his face into the ground, breaking the floor, and this way, Kenkar has our kid's face shoved into the ground, and V starts shouting that he went too far, but M says that this is almost unbelievable. What do you mean? And M wonders what the body of his naked self is made of. Kai looks at him, not understanding what the problem is with that kid, and he remembers that before his elbow touched, he headbutted the ground, and he realizes that it was intentional, but he thinks it was not. He probably was not thinking straight from so much fear, but still, he thinks he has a head of iron, and to his surprise, Seonu starts to get up, and he is very shocked, not understanding what the hell is going on, and how he can do that without using any drug. And he gets up and stares at Kai and the old man with wide eyes. The hell is this? And Minam says that so it means that he is not a child in defense who needs protection, and he does not know why, but something about him gives him chill, and he stood up again, and he spiraled him and tells him not try to act tough, and if he had just pretended, he would have let him go in peace, and he does not understand why he keeps doing that. And that son of a gun says he just talks crap, and should just shut up, and he wants to see if he is really that strong, or if he just talks too, and Kai thinks that if he wants to give up, he will have to show that his attacks are useless, and if he says that is right, and with an open heart, he tells him to jump, saying that he won't even defend himself. He does not think that it is actually good for him to underestimate, but he does not understand why that irritates him so much, while he fell, thinking that he risked everything to become the greatest fighter of all, and he defeated all the fighters he encountered in the ring. But that was not enough, because he thought that to become a true warrior, he had to survive life or death situation. So he went after the most dangerous thugs and killers that exist and joined one of the rival gangs, working hard until he became the greatest warrior. And so there is no reason for him to take a kid like that so seriously, and if he tells him to go ahead and try to hit him, well, he won't feel a thing. And this guy lands a big punch in Kai's stomach, which surprises his companions, but to everyone's surprise, Kai did not move a single muscle, and he says that it did not even tick, and he is not an opponent for a kid like him. But to his surprise, he finally feels something, and this guy says that then he is going to give him another punch, and so Kai finally feels that hit, and then he swings to kick his head. Kai manages to defend himself, wondering how he can while thinking that he needs to dodge this blow, but once again Kai tears at his chest, and he, very worried, thought he had dodged it, and now he needs to back away, and so he takes a few steps back, and they both face each other again, and Kai asks how many chances he wants him to give him, but C-No starts laughing in his face, and the guy, annoyed, asks if he really just laughed, and C-No says that he already told him before, and this way he tears his clothes, and with a totally ripped body. His roommates do not understand what muscles those are, and with with his confident look, he asks him if he did not say he would not defend himself. And D admits that he is right. He is not a kid that they just brought there to put on a little show. But he hopes he does not forget. He forced him to do this. And as he starts to pull off some kind of a move, our boy gets even more excited. And yes, Kai says he is going to fight now with 100% of his strength. And this way Kai starts to tighten his, activating 100% of his strength. And with that, our boy gives a little smile. And that old man up there wonders why the hell he is not smiling and if he has gone crazy. But the girl says no, he seems a lot more pumped up now. And the old man asks and how he is not afraid of that monster attacking 100% of his strength. And the girl says that well, his look is probably excited. He had a strong opponent like Kai finally recognizing him. The old man asks how he would think about that with his life at risk. Only she tells him that she thinks just like him and that her opponents never took fight seriously. They always underestimated her because she was a woman. But after a while, they started to go all out. This made her so excited that her heart felt like it was going to explode. But he tells her to laugh calmly and if he is really feeling something like that now. But it is not the time for that. But the kid back there says he knows that feeling too. When everyone underestimates for being a small and weak child. And the only thing that made him feel alive was seeing their face when they recognized him as a true opponent, which left them speechless. And so he says that they are saying he has the heart of a fighter with his little guy down there getting ready for the fight. And if one gets really pissed, he gets ready to go after him, while his little guy says he will go first. And at that moment he goes to punch Kai. Kai blocks with his arm. And the old man up there says that made a huge noise. And even Kai must be surprised by that strength. But the guy down there realizes that his skin is as tough as concrete. And if Kai says he will return that to him with a punch to his arm. But unlike Enqua's punch, his punch breaks the ground, making our boy spit blood. And if the old man says that is crap, and you can feel the ground shaking under him, and Kai is on another level, and with Su down on the ground, Kai tries to kick him, but when he realizes Sunu has escaped his strike and is already standing up again, he is surprised and wonders how he dodged, while the boy in the back says no, he did not completely dodge, he just grazed his back, and if he is very tired, but he wonders what this strange feeling is, and is he experiencing fear because of him, this monster in front of him, and if one falls, a god. He asks why he does not admit he will never win against him, but if I do not tell him to shut up, because he is not the only monster there, and everything he can do even better. I am already charging at him with my elbow, but whoever can dodge this does not think it is a drug, and Kai, very happy, says it is his turn to headbutt, but Mar, and yells again, saying that everything he does, he can do better, and with a big push, he blocks Kai's headbutt with his own, but Kai's head is harder than his. He is hurt from the impact and falls to the ground. Kai says this fight is already over, and his attacks have no skill. He is just coming at him blindly with brute, but once again, and gives a little smile, and Kai asks why he is smiling, and if he does not intend to give up this fight, that is he is going to finish it for him. But to Kai's surprise, from our boy's body, smoke starts to come out, and they ask what the hell that is, and the old man up there does not understand what that smoke is, and if it is his blood evaporating, and in this way, Seon remembers that he never liked to fight, since he felt like a monster being dragged by everyone in these fights. But he wonders, is this place effective? Can he stop smiling? And he can control the urge to fight this guy with Kai in front of him, ready to kick him. But at that moment, he feels something different in his body and dodging the blow, grabs Kai's head and headbutts him again, which surprises many spectators. And with the spin still in the air, he throws Kai against the wall, and Kai thinks it is as if he were not even human. And how did he become so fat? But once again, his fist is right in your face, punching him against the wall. And yes, Kai says he finally caught him, but to his surprise, pulls him close and punches him in the stomach, getting ready for an even stronger, just as the stomach dropped, making him scream in pain. But even so, he does not fall to the ground. This asks what drug he used, and if he really does not get tired, with sleepiness coming at him again. He managed to block the attack and tried to, but sleepiness dodged and from behind punched him in the face. And Kai asks, the hell is this? But when he realizes it, another fist hits his, throwing him away, surprising everyone up there. And with Kai on the ground bleeding, Valis asks if Kai really died, but the girl says that is not his blood, and that is the blood on his, while our hero thinks it seems like he is intoxicated. He does not understand what this is, and it is like his whole body is being torn apart. And if one falls, he gets up once more, and the girl up there does not understand how this Kai keeps getting up, but his bodyguard says his skin strengthening ability acts like armor, and his skin is already tough, so it is causing damage to his body, and she asks if he has no chance of winning. But what down there thinks he has never felt so anxious, and this kind of pain feels like he has reached his limit. He can barely keep his eyes open, and he wants to end this by breaking your leg. And with that, he tries to kick, but his last minute block with B manages to stop it, while Kai does not understand how he can be so fat. And when he takes another punch, he manages to defend himself, and he thinks every time he blocks, he gets hurt more. And what is excited about the chance to hit him only sees him trading blows with him, while the boy wonders his attacks are working, but he can't feel his hand anymore. On the other hand, Kai thinks he is taking his attacks head on so that his skin does not tear, but he does not understand what sensation this is in his body. He does not know why, but it seems like his punches are getting weak, so he can't stall anymore. He can see where his guard is open, and he is going for the strike he has perfected for over a decade, and this gives him a low sweep on his leg, and your leg spits blood, and Kai once again says he is going to break your leg, and at that moment, to try to block the hit, your leg would have to come back, and the old man up there is very shocked, realizing he defended the impact with his shin. Kick is stronger and tears his skin, and he says this is not good. His leg is broken, and he falls to the ground and realizes his knee is very hurt, and his muscles are torn. He can move, and a kick near him starts yelling that it is over, and the guy up there just screams no. But to Kai's shock, as he takes a step forward, his leg is completely broken, and he starts screaming in pain, wondering what the hell is this, and how this happened. But once again, as he slams his arm on the ground, his arm breaks, and he does not understand what this is, questioning if he is dreaming, and thinking that he was told there is no drug that would make bones stronger. But he sacrificed his own muscles on purpose, just to reach his bone. And they ask, who is this guy, with his arm and leg twisted? And the guy up there and the boy are very shocked, and the girl is suspicious, and the president and his assistant are left speechless. But the girl in the VIP room is very excited, and our boy is still standing, and that president up there asks asks what is going on, and the assistant said, and K managed to keep fighting without getting hurt thanks to that skin-strengthening drug. However, this led to an even greater accumulation of damage, and his skin remains intact, but his bones continue to suffer damage. And he was fighting with empty hands against a hammer, but he was too high to feel pain and to keep his skin in. This gave him a false sense of confidence, and by this point, Kai's arms and legs were probably already full of fracture, and the drone goes up to him and starts filming, saying that Kai is unable to continue. And because of that, the winner of the match is Kang, and with that, our boy starts celebrating, shouting a lot, and the old man up there can't believe and wonders if maybe he is a zombie and how he did not faint. But the kid behind says that Guy must be hiding something, and yes, falls to the ground very tired, thinking about his mom, wishing she could hold on just a bit longer because he is almost there. And now in the filming room, that masked man asks if they are sure this kid did not use any drug, and the doctor says yeah, and that is what is in the record. He will be examined again after the first round, so they will confirm that, but the masked man says they need to find out who he is through his relatives. And now at the hospital where his father is hospitalized and his mother is with, someone enters the room and she says visiting hours are not over yet, but to her shock, there are huge security guards right behind her, and she asks who they are, and now he is being taken away on a stretcher. Meanwhile, President upstairs says he defeated Kai, but the question is whether he will be able to fight in the next rounds with these injuries, and the assistant says he will receive a medical evaluation, could delay the decision until the result come in. But the most important thing is that during the medical evaluation, plans to secretly drug test him, and the president asks, what do you mean? And he says that if he can pass the second round of drug test, he will become one of the top candidates for victory. And the president asks, can do this type of test and if it is not against the rules if a player refuses. The assistant says it is just a test to see if his body handle the doping, and even if that is the case, there won't be any noticeable change. That is why he will do it secretly. The president asks, what if it fails? And the assistant says that if it fails in any way, he would be useless to them. And so if he fails, they will proceed with plan B. And now, in the recovery room of his, our boy is inside a recovery capsule, but right next to him is a guy holding a syringe, and he is opening the capsule with him inside to do the drug test. And now it goes back to the arena, that assistant saying that if they play well, he can make it into the top 16 with just one more win. And the president says that means if he wins one more fight, he enters the top 31 and then goes to the top 16 depending on how much money they bet on him. And the assistant says exactly that, while the president thinks they won't bet on him after he is injured. And the assistant asks he has not seen him in person. He has already won 2 rounds without even using the drug, and this has never happened before, or at least it was not supposed to happen. And he keeps saying that he made it to the top 62 without any drugs. This will attract the attention of several VIP, and if he wins just one more time, they will bet a lot of money. And the president, annoyed, says that this is still useless, and he won't lead the tournament. He does not use any drug, and he asks if it is not time to choose a safer option. But the assistant says that well, he is sure that Lou has already realized that he needs to use the drug. He wants to live and save his family. Only the president says that if he has a body intolerant to the drug, regardless of the outcome of the next round, they will leave him aside. And the assistant responds that he has already prepared to payment for the hospital's security in case he fails. And the president says that is good, and no matter how likely that is to happen, he won't be there to hear news about his parents. And the accident continues, saying that there are some cases one will see the delivery of the test results. And then the president says it must be one of the advantages of being a secretary sent by the combat wing, and he can conduct these drug tests in secret from everyone. And the serious assistant says that this is not true. He is also putting his own life at risk, and the confused president asks why on earth he is putting his life at risk and surely it is not for him. And the other continues saying that his goal is to find the strongest dude in the combat wing. For that goal, he can risk everything, whether it is his life or other. It does not matter what. And the president, smiling, says that he has a lot of passion, and he likes that about him. And at that moment, to both of their surprises, someone enters the room saying that it is time to go, and so the assistant asks what the test results are, and the masked one says it was surprising. He had no reaction, and the assistant says that then the drug did not work on it, and the other says yeah, exactly that, and the president starts shouting, saying he has already talked about, and they need to get rid of all the evidence related to his ego, and begins with the help of his parents. But he seriously says that it is actually easier to get rid of him while our boy sleeping in that strange capsule. And now at the combat reception, blonde boy says that since they have called the 62 winner, they must have already been decided, and that old man next to him says that must still be recovering, so he has not returned yet. And the girl from Capoeira says that maybe that is for the best. After all, they said they would start when all the players have recovered, and this might be a good time for him to get some rest. And he observes that, wondering how she can stretch herself that much, and he stares at him and says that now look tired. And the blonde boy says that normally the Q-babes there leave some injury, like what happened to his new and to him, but the two of them came out without a scratch, and they are really strong. And the boy says that this arm is special. No one would imagine the right arm to be as incredible as his, and Vif also had no idea that his arm would change so much. And the boy said he told Amanda, her opponent, chattering about how not to use arms since he was facing a woman, but in Villa he ended up knocked out with just one blow, and to be honest, she defeated him so quickly that he could not even fully understand what she did. And he asks if she can tell him how she did that, but she responds by asking why she would tell him that, since he might end up being her opponent in the future, which surprises the kid a lot. But he gets startled right away by that guy appearing, asking why he left him out, and he first to win. And so someone appears on the screen saying congratulations to everyone for making it to the top 6, and says that if they defeat one more opponent, they will have the chance to go straight to the top 6, and those who won this round will be ranked based on the money bet on them, and the top 16 will be decided based on that, and if they survive the round of 6, they will receive 5% of the bets as a prize. And so everyone starts celebrating celebrating very happily for the money they might win. And this mysterious guy continues saying that if they want people to bet on them, they will have to risk their lives in this next round and show the EPs how strong they can be. They should not worry about getting hurt. After all, this place is one of the best hospitals in the world. And he says that now he will reveal the matchups for the next round. And now at another location in the Rosen group, President asks can guarantee the other candidates to bet on, besides whether or not. And the assistant says that, this fighter seems like a candidate, right? And the president asks who it is, and the assistant says it is his opponent from the river. And now he is taken to combat class. In the case of recovering from that, the capsule finally opens and our boy finally wakes up. I send you by your mother. But he thinks this was not a dream, and he is sure of what he heard. With someone unknown saying they want to get rid of his parent, he does not react to the drugs. And he is really unlucky, although he won't see it that way. But to his surprise, our boy saw everything and thinks he needs to get out of there as fast as possible and save his parent. And now the scene cuts to the principal's office. Principal asking what was the medical evaluation of Mer, and the doctor behind says there was something special. And the principal asks, what do you mean special? And he replies saying he has something they can't improve with their drug, which is the density of his bone, which is 10 times greater than average. And the principal says that is amazing, and the doctor says it is not just that. And the principal asks what is more, and seeing the data, he says that this speed is too fast, and it is actually as if he is regenerating, which surprises the principal a lot. And the doctor says he can give them some clues about the regeneration drug they are developing. And the principal says then there really is something about him, and asks his relatives are safe. But then the doctor says he is very sorry, and Guter asks, what do you mean? And what happened? And the doctor said that when they arrived, someone had already taken them. And now in the recovery room, our boy is very nervous. But if he does not go now, they will get his parent. But it is a mess. He has no way out and no way to escape. And he needs to get out of that room as possible, find the duct and climb up. But at that moment, if he opens the door, someone appears in front of him, which shocks him. And that girl from before says it is nice to see him up close, and introduces herself as Gian Taecha. And our boy, angry, tells her to get out of the way now. But she tells him that if it is about his parent, he does not need to worry. And she asks what he means, saying that she is taking care of. But our boy does not understand what she is talking about. And now it cuts back to the office of the director's second son from the Rosen group, when he asks his assistant anyone took his parents or not, and he says yes, they disappeared without a trace, and she from combat must have done something. And the director asks what she from combat mean, and he says yes, they have always been quick to get rid of anything that could be problematic. And the director says that in the end they did not even have their hands dirty, and he was unsure if they should get directly involved. But it seems luck is on their side, and now that it has been resolved, he asks if he has contacted his next fighter yet, and the accident just tells him not to worry, because in the fight, the VIPs can call the fighters to their rooms whenever they want, can go anywhere. These are restricted areas, and the guy asks if he wants him to go to those beats, and the assistant says exactly that. And in the past, many VIPs even paid to see them up close. But it is not a good idea to wander around like the fight room is a park, since security has been ensured in the VIP room. And now back in Seo's room, our nervous boy asks how his parents are, and if they are okay. But the girl tells him to shut up now and speak softly if he wants to save his parent, because escaping from there won't solve anything. And he pulls his hand away from hers and asks what she means by that. That she says very serious, that as he already knows, his contracting uncle is trying to get rid of any evidence linking you to him. That book from your parents is the first step, and besides that, they are also looking for them, which makes your uncle very nervous. And the girl continues saying that she came here without a guide to talk to him privately, so he should listen to her. She also wants to parents safe, but he is very annoyed, asking about her and what she wants from him. And she says her name is Seong-Gian. She just needs one, which is him, and that surprises our boy. And Berita asks the hell she is talking about, and she says she is one of the 16, so she needs a reliable fighter to bet on. And he asks if she is really not a VIP, and she says she might be young, but until recently she was one of the owners of the Rosen group, and it would be easier for her to understand if she said she is the sister of his former contract, which surprises our boy. And she confidently says that even though she was kicked out of the Rosen group because of his scheme, she was planning to leave anyway, and her business is going well, so she does not care much about that. But still, she does not want her brothers to destroy her father's company. He simply can't let that happen when she is around. And the confused man asks what that has to do with parent, and she says to be direct, her brothers and she were always spying on each other. He has been especially keeping an eye on her second brother, since he is not that careful. And when he saw him trying hard to recruit him, she approached her parents to find out more about him, and realized he was even more amazing than she imagined. So she could not let your brother monopolize him, since his genes are extraordinary, which completely surprises him. And quickly, if I do not ask how her genes are talking, she says that what matters now is that many people are looking for their parent. And your Nervoso says that if running away does not help, then what does she want him to do? And she says that one thing she is sure of is that there is only one way to save him and his parent, and that is the only way. And quickly he asks what that way is and tells her to say it already. And she just says that he needs to win at any cost, and she plans to make a deal that gets rid of his two brothers, betting on the winner of the combat wing, which left your N very surprised, not quite understanding where she wants to go with this. And she explains to him that if everything goes well, his second brother won't be a threat, since he will rot in prison. As for the other, they can get rid of them with money, and that'll be pretty easy for her, since she has a lot of money. And Nasa Senhora asks how he can trust her talking in a secret place like, and where did she get so much confidence from? And she tells him that there is a rule in the combat class. Anyone who does not keep their word is erased from existence by the authorities there, and that is the final rule. And feeling very nervous, he says that he is willing to risk his life betting on him, and he asks if she is crazy, but she says she is not the only one who needs this partnership. And when the top 16 are decided, anyone not chosen by a VIP is immediately disqualified. And this sleepy guy asks how he can know that his parents are safe, and how he is supposed to trust rich kids like them are not good people. And she says they can't bring any cell phones or other electronic devices there, so there is nothing she can show. And the sir then asks how he can trust trust her if he can't see anything or make contact, and in that way, she asks if he trusts someone who shared secrets with his parent, and our big surprise asks what she means by that, and she says especially with someone who knows about his parents' past and how he got those amazing geniuses, and he starts shouting, asking what the hell this girl is talking about, and tells her to spill it now, but to both of their surprise, that automatic door opens and a drone starts to appear. She approaches him and tells him not to forget she will protect his parents with her life, so he does not need to run away, and she says it is time to go now, and she turns and says he does not need to worry about anything else and just needs to secure his victory with and no one else, and after she leaves, our boy is pretty used, and this scene cuts to the combat dormitory, room 10, with that old man saying that his reward has increased a lot, but his rank is in last, and the blonde boy says it is probably because he was sent to the recovery room after the match, and no matter how well he fights, people won bet on an injured fighter, but to everyone's surprise, the door to his room opens, and first, the drone enters saying that player Seonu has returned to room 10 with our serious boy walking through the door, and the old man gets really excited saying that he finally came back. He looks better than he expected, and he must have rested well wherever he was, but he notices something different about him and asks why he looks like that, and our boy, trembling with anger, full of hate, just tells him to say how he managed to win without even getting hurt, and he gets really serious, but does not answer and just stares at our boy, this while he is trembling with anger. He says he needs to make it to the top 16 if our family is going to die, and no matter what happens, he asks him to please say at least something. He will do anything he says. Then, finally, he asks the old man for help, which shocks the old man, seeing that Seonu has changed a lot, and Noscruto says that he thinks he is asking for too much, but to his surprise, Amanda next to him says that he needs a decisive blow. This does not ask what she means by a decisive blow, and he says that it is hard to master the fight. He does not have a decisive strike, especially in the combat area, where you fight against several monsters. By the way, she asks him what his specialty is, which surprises our boy, not quite understanding what he can say, since he does not know what his specialty is, but the old man bends down and asks if he can kick him in the calf using his strong shine, and there are not many people control their legs with the precision and agility that he has, and it is really impressive. And during the fight against Kai, he watched closely and blocked a low sweep from an experienced fighter with his shine, which means he has a lot of confidence in that bone of his shin, or maybe even in all the bones of his body. And he says that nowadays to the calf is becoming more and more refined, where fighters can take down their opponents with just to the calf, and the old man asks Seong can show it to his calf, and so Seong sets his stance and kicks with his calf, which apparently was very strong, surprising even the old man who said it made an explosive noise, and he says that he really is talented, but when they were talking, they heard the siren, and the old man wonders what that noise was, and the combat scale started to shake, and everyone asks where that noise came, but in one of the completely closed rooms, someone is training their move, even making a scratch on the floor, and with just one blow, he managed to shake the entire foundation of that, and this is the Istika River, ranked 15. The next opponent of Suno, who by the way is a Cud fight, a Japanese martial art, and now the scene cuts to room number 10, with everyone still gathered, and the old man says that he knocks down his opponent with it to the cow. His chances of winning will increase significantly without needing to fight, and if he makes it to the next round without getting hurt, his cash reward will go up again. But for his game, crazy guy appears right behind him saying that is not it, and he got everything wrong, and he, quite nervous, asks what is up and where he came from, and this guy keeps saying that they all already know that the decisive move of Song is not it to the cow, and they should know that, and he turns back and asks what he means and tells him to speak up, and that crazy guy says that his decisive move is his headbutt. He defended the head of the lightweight champion solely with his head, and he did it several times, and the fact that he kept fighting even with a head injury only proves that his head is the strongest of all in that place, and he starts trying to lick a little on his head with that crazy expression, while his buddy tries to push him away, and the old man back there tells him to calm down and asks if he does not know hurt both the one who lands it and the one who receives it. That would be almost suicide, and even more unfeasible when he is fighting against monsters like the combat daily, so it can't be viable, and he could end up dying from brain damage in less than 2 rounds, and like he said, it is a complete suicide. But the guy says it is funny for him to say something like that, and to begin with, they all put their lives at risk when they signed up for the competition, and they must have understood that, which makes it surprising again with him talking like that. And this psychopath says that sitting out of fear of dying in a battle against top-ranked players in the combat area is just obviously going to happen. It is a sure death, and the old man is pretty nervous about this guy's appearance, but he keeps saying he thinks he should not worry about his butt now, and the old man asks, what do you mean? And with that strange smile, he says he is talking about his next opponent. That guy is very strange and wicked, and the next fight is the 9th in the rank, Mishua, against the old man is at rank 22, and now nothing is restricted in the combat area. That director starts looking at the player's report and says that this guy's reaction is pretty scary, and this kid thought it was wondering him there, with 3 bodies of players floating in an aquarium, and the director says he must be proud of his son talking to the doc and draw. Cabes Bakso thanks him and bows, saying that this was only possible thanks to him, while thinking that this was the right choice. He had no other choice. There was a time when he did not know about combat, and at that time his son, who suffered from a rare disease, consumed all his muscle, almost died in front of him, with his son falling down, telling his father that he fell, could not get up, and just begged for help, and the old man remembered could not do anything and felt very bad, and he was just a doctor receiving his salary at the end of the month, and well, when he thought everything was over, he received a message from the hospital director whom he had never seen before, and he could never imagine that he would call him to the crematory run by the hospital, and when he passed through a secret door, he would see a completely crazy world, and in the building where he called him, there was a list of the most famous and renowned people in the world, and he was not interested in why all these people were involved in these activities, and when he saw the results of the tests they were doing, he could not stop crying, thinking that maybe his son would make it. And at that moment the director appeared, asking what he thought and what he thinks about joining this experiment with his son, and he remembers that back then he almost said yes without thinking, but he could not let those crazies use his son as a lab rat, so he started to run and race to his son, but when he got got there, he saw something unimaginable because, as far as he knew, his son had said he was going to school and felt fine. But then he realized he had forgotten how he had been living all this time, and his son was just begging him to please just kill him now because he could not take living anymore, and he was completely devastated. He said there was nothing he could do about it. So he finally joined the fight while wondering there really was another way for them, one that had not turned him into the monster he is now. And finally, the fight begins, and that drone asks him to please enter the arena, and as the door opens, he takes a step forward and appears in front of the arena, and as he enters, he faces an old man and says that it has finally begun, and the old man, surprisingly, is a master in Krav Maga, while Miss Han is a master in Kali Arnat, a Filipino martial artist is on training with blade and knives first, and then high-level hand-to-hand combat, and there is a drone in front of them saying that they will start the fight between Miss Han and Isaac Park. They must start now with both charging at each other, and Miss Han strikes with his two fingers right on the old man's shoulder, causing blood to spray out, and the old man wonders how the hell he did that, and his right arm got hurt, and that is pretty bad. And in this way, everyone in the fight is very surprised by that development, and the blonde boy says that this guy's knife combat skills are incredible, but a bare knuckle fight, and no one would have that, only to Miss Han in surprise. His fingers are dug right into the old man's shoulder, and he realizes that is bad. He is pinning his fingers with his muscle, making it impossible for him to pull away, and this guy calls him a kid and ass. He does not think he has got close, and if he raises his right arm and opens his palm, it leaves Murin very surprised, and he simply attacks him with his palm, but still, in the end, Misu manages to break free and dodge the attack, while the old man slams his hand into the ground. But that gust of wind really frightens Misu and Han, and he gets thrown back, while the old man destroyed part of the arena, and the boy with his finger covered in blood wonders what the old man's problem is and how the hell he did that. And the confident guy says that using knife combat technique in a bare knuckle fight, he is impressive, so he is going to return the favor with some knife combat techniques that are his special. And that president asks about this Suku part. Who is this guy facing this the ninth in the rank so easily? And he asks if he was considering Mins as one of his options. But who the hell is that Insuk? And the accident says he is an insecure guy who primarily fights using Krav Maga. And the director asks what he means by Krav Maga, and if that is all he has. And the accident says that as violence against Jews increased in the mid-20th century, this martial art style was created by a Jewish soldier to protect civilians. And it is a martial art focused on real combat that mixes practical technique from various martial arts around the world, and is also known being especially effective in close combat. This director asks that if it was created for protection, it must mean that the strikes are weak, so it does not work for them. But the assistant says he is not so sure about that, and the director asks what he means by that, and he responds by saying that if this method of protection is to eliminate the threat, it would be different. And even if he is in the middle of the arena, Masuk already charges at Mishuan Ran. While Miso says he is too slow and quickly manages to dodge. With an arrogant smile, he says he is too slow, and he should not dare to fight him like that, landing his strike right on Insuk's tempo. And as Insuk tries to counterattack, Kid takes a few steps back, and the old man charges at him again, determined to catch him no matter what happens. And the confident boy asks if he thinks he can keep up with him, but that clumsy body and huge arm will be useless if he drags himself over there. But then the old man bends down and says he is going in. He already digs his hands into the arena and charges at him like a full monster, already pummeling him against the wall. But at the last moment, Men's managed to dodge with just a cut on his face. He manages to dodge all of his punches, saying he has already told him that he is useless, and what he thinks he is doing is trap. Passed by his side, and quickly Men's landed 2 hits on the old man's rib, and the old man tries to counterattack once again, but he says that he managed to stop him from hitting his vital point, that slow body. But he wants to see how much longer he can last, and he starts attacking him in various different spots, this strange technique, while the old man thinks he can't keep up, and that way he might end up defeated. And as a boy passes by him once more landing a critical hit, it surprises the 3 in the stand, leaving them shocked by the fight, and the blonde boy says he has the strength of the fighter ranked 9. This asks if it is really possible to defeat him while he is completely covered in blood, very weak, with his body trembling, and this mission says he is really tough. Seeing that Milan is on guard, he asks if he is clenching his fist, and if he has given up on knife fighting technique, while the old man realizes his body is badly injured and drops his guard while this mission looks like a demon approach. He says that now that he has dropped his guard, he has given up, and he asks if he plans to grab him when he gets closer, but he questions if he really thinks that will work, already charging at, telling him to die by hitting his stomach, and the old man feels that power and realizes that this was a very strong attack. But to everyone's surprise, it was not the boy who hit him, it was Insuk himself who punched his stomach, and the blonde boy up there does not understand what the hell he just did, and because he punched his own stomach, he explains on the side that he was not just punching, he tried to hit the opponent's fingers in the middle of the attack, and to everyone's surprise, he managed to hit, breaking 2 of his fingers, leaving Mishuan very shocked, as this was something he never imagined. And after he breaks his finger, he says he is a crazy old man, but to his surprise, punch is already coming right at, ready to attack, as he thinks mentally that this is bad, he is going to get hit, and in the next second, he receives a punch to his stomach and is thrown against the wall, making a big crack, and he starts screaming in pain and spitting blood, while Valuk thinks he still has not defeated him, and needs to hit him with another stronger blow. His right arm has taken too much damage. This is going to be really and this is his only chance. He says he is going to try again and charges all his power into his, but to the old man's surprise, he feels something strange in his body and starts to crumble in the middle of the arena. While you do not notice that, you tell him to hang in there, or else he is going to fall, and the old man thinks it is a drag. He lost too much blood and can't even lift his arm, and he starts closing his eyes and apologizing to his son, but he keeps thinking why he is thinking about this. It is not over yet, and if he tells him to get a grip, just when he opens his eyes again, that kid Masan is right in front of him, ready to attack, and to the old man's surprise, this smiling psychopath says that actually he is right-handed and simply hits hits him with another blow right in the chest. It is like he is spitting a lot of blood, and the one up there starts shouting for the old man. But to everyone's surprise, the old man put his hand in front of his chest. But still, the kid's hand went through, and the smiling psychopath congratulates him for his desperate to stop, sacrificing the palm of his hand. But he says that unfortunately, his fingers are too long and he simply pushes in even more. And this Yuki's eyes go wide in the last moments of his life, and he simply falls to the ground on his knee while he does not realize that it is very bad and starts calling for Inso. And then Miss Hen turns to our boy and starts shouting his name, calling him her Kang, which makes our boy very desperate. And Miss Hen starts telling him to throw up. This little brat died because of you. And he simply pulls his fingers away, and that scene happens. Our boy goes into shock and starts remembering the past when that Mishuan tried to help and taught him a few things. And when he told him that if he had spent some time with his son like that, maybe things would have been different. Well, our boy thinks that maybe it would have been different too. His dad had been close to him like that. But he will tell himself to relax because his dad would never leave him behind, and he will be okay, and just like he won't die and leave his son alone. Then Suki simply falls to the ground unconscious while the boy stares at him, his body completely injured. And so the drone says that the match has ended and the winner is Min-san. And then the blonde boy steps on In-suk's head and says this place is fun for In-saw, and that our boy goes into a fury and jumps from the platform towards the arena. And Misura, staring at, says that of course he would be like that. And those two drones stare at our boy while the kid up there thinks that the guides did not shoot at him. They are not going to shoot unless they really fight. And our boy confronts Miss Han and tells him to get his foot off now and stop doing that. But Miss Han keeps stepping harder and tells him to go over there and take it off hand. Meanwhile, our boy, even angry, is setting up his base, and that drone quickly aims at, and our boy shouts that he told him to get his foot off now. In the meantime, the psycho is coming at him again with that crazy look, and quick, the other boy jumped onto the platform thinking he needs to stop them now. But someone is faster and holds him while he does not tell him to let go now. But that smiling guy says he should at least live long enough to use the ability he taught. This does not tell him to let her go now. And in that way, that boy comes from behind and trips him, making him fall to the ground and trapping his feet. And with both holding him, that smiling guy tells him to take a nap now while our boy starts to faint and thinks it is a drag. And he remembers when In-suk told him that if something happened to him, he asked him to please take care of his son. He says he wishes he could be his friend just to make sure he does not go down the wrong path. And our boy told him that he thought that was obvious. And Suk asked what he meant by that. And Seonu said that he still has a lot to learn from, so it makes sense for him to be friends with your son, but he needs to learn more from him. What really surprised In-suk is that he starts joking around with calling him a freeloader, and then after he finally faints, everyone stops holding him because he has already lost consciousness. And Miss N starts staring at our boy and says it is really a good sight. But Amanda steps forward and says he has already gotten the attention he wanted, so she tells him to leave now. And Grotto asks what she means, and Amanda glares at him asking what he is going to do and if he wants even more attention than that. And Miss asks if she wants to die too, and Amanda says if he picks a fight with, he is going to get shot by the guide. That would be great for her. But he glares at him with a lot of anger and asks if maybe she can also beat him to death. And he gives a little smile and says that his time will come and he will end up killing her anyway. And he turns around and starts to leave, passing by the platform while Amanda goes to Misuk and touches his neck and realizes he is still not dead, and she calls the paramedics to come help her. Looking at his hand, he says that his right hand saved his life and he used it to move his strike a little away from his heart, so he is still not dead. And looking down from above, that director says that Mishu is an aberration and asks how he manages to use his fingers as a weapon. And the assistant says is because of the defect of the drug that is special to him, and most muscle enhancement drugs only increase the size of the muscle, the tendon, ligament, and everything around his bone and drastically enhanced. This could be much more useful in combat than his strengthened bone. And the director then asks they should not recruit him, but the assistant says that Men is a fighter managed directly by the director, so it is not easy to get in touch with. He said it is a drug, and the assistant tells him not to worry, as there are still several participants to choose from, including those for the next fight. And the director asks, what do you mean the next fight? And if he is talking about that capoeira, and he says yes. He was thinking of the director asks, what do you mean capoeira? That is not even a martial art, it is more of a dance. The assistant says that capoeira can be a dance, but it was not made for entertainment. And when Portugal colonized Brazil, many African slaves were brought to work and to escape oppression and harsh conditions, created a martial art camouflaged as a dance to deceive the guards watching them. Or at least that is what the story says. And the assistant continues saying that it is a martial art marked by suffering and pain, not by joy. In fact, after Brazil gained independence, capoeira ended up being used in various criminal activities to the point that the government banned it for a time, around 1937. So it is not just an efficient martial art, but also quite dangerous. And this no ring. Amanda Croce is already in position, and the guiding drone following her goes in her direction and says that the fighters for the next round have already arrived. And so Amanda looks to the side and faces another person, El Solgo, a master in martial art. And if the drone says they have not started the duel between Amanda Croce and Wilsugo, Amanda sets her stance and faces her opponent, wondering if he is underestimating her, and he does not seem worried at all. So she is going to go first. And at that moment she tries to, facing his face, it seems like another psychop entered the ring. And back to the director, he says that is enough talking about Amanda Croce capoeira, and he gestures to Wilsugo, who is ranked 10th in betting and must be incredible as well. And the assistant says he used heat and memo, but did not have much success. But after using the drug, he gained dynamic vision and was nicknamed the 10-second knockout artist among the VIPs. And the betting day on him has increased rapidly since then. And the director asks what a 10-second knockout artist and what kind of nickname that is. And his assistant explains that he finished all his fights a single knockout, and none of them lasted more than 10 seconds. And the director says that is incredible then. And this Miss Misok says he managed to get several people to bet on him for finishing fight without a single injury, and he got even more attention because of the 10-second streak. And the director says that if he can maintain the title this round and the emblem, he will attract a large amount of money and go up at least into the top 5 direct as long as he keeps that nickname. And this fight starts, and in 7 seconds Amanda kicks him, and even at 7 this psychopath gives a little smile and says that even a high-level fighter was drawn in by his unprepared, and she attacks without hesitation, but he can see with his dynamic vision, and at 8 seconds he thinks that he can block even unprepared and gives her hell at 9 seconds. But to his surprise, he does not understand what is happening and why she is looking at the ground. Just as the 10 seconds complete, his face is pinned against the arena, and Amanda on top of him pushes his face into the ground. While he thinks that in the end she defeated him in 10 seconds, Amanda simply lifts her foot, and he was defeated. And so the drone above her starts announcing that the winner of the round is Amanda Crow, and she stares at him and says that there are some techniques out there, no matter how hard you try, your senses will never be able to up. And watching that fight, the director is very surprised, wondering what the hell just happened. And Misok says problem was him thinking he needed to block it and immediately going into an attacking position. The director asks if that is not how they fight, blocking and then countering. The assistant says that this is what Riku thought, and usually a strong enough punch to knock out an opponent requires all of the body's energy to be pressed on one side, and it explodes the moment it is released towards the target. And then if the first attack fails, the opponent won't have enough time to gather more energy again. In other words, their next attack won't be as strong or as fast as the enemy's counterattack, especially when you are with both feet off the ground. And then there is a lever to compress and hold all of your energy. And the director asks, so this was not the situation where the Crow band was and their 2 feet were in the air and the first strike. And Misuk explains that yeah, exactly that, and that is why Ryoki tried to attack her immediately. That was his mistake after something he overlooked about Amanda Crow. And the very curious director asks what it was, and he explains that in capoeira we use our arms and hands as levers, and Amanda Croce received the strength boost to significantly improve muscle density instead of muscle mass. This made her attacks much faster and more powerful without the slowness that excess muscle brings, giving her total freedom for her. And now Amanda was able to attack with great force and speed in any situation. So they still can't say what she might be capable of, and the smiling director says that it seems there are still some good fighters left, but he says it will be quite difficult to get a match with her now. And the director asks why, and he says it is because she defeated him in just 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, she will probably take that title, and all the VIP money that was bet on that guy will go directly to her now. And the director asks if he can handle this little competition, but my guy asks him not to rush, and there are still several interesting fighters left. And the director asks if the next fighter is also from room 10, and Muk says yeah, that is right, and this match will be quite interesting since the fighter will be forced to give it their all. And this is in the room with that blonde kid saying he finally woke up, and our boy wakes up startled, asking what happened. He asks why he is there, and he quickly remembers what happened and asks about Yusuf, but to their surprise, Amanda enters the room and says he is still alive, unbelievably, and she saw him breathing when she went to his body, and so his end felt a bit more at ease since he has not died yet. And in this way, Amanda goes to Minho and says that this fight will be the next one, and she asks if he should not be getting ready, and Mai says he knows. The guy is really serious, thinking this opponent might be the reason he is there, remembering when a man handed him a card saying he will make sure he knows who killed his brother, and the minion said that he mentioned he does not even know his name, so how can he know who he is? But the mysterious guy says all he knows is that he entered the combat wing and he was a boxer, which surprises Miko a lot to hear him say he will give more details later. But one thing is certain, there are not many ex-boxers in the combat wing, and his next opponent is No Choi in the 16th rank. And now back in the VIP room, the director asks what those in the top 5 must be like. Cis participants in the lower rank are already monsters like this, and B says that the number 5 in the ranking is Left, who is a Russian security guard who used to be part of the Giant, and says he would kill any threat to his client. And then while he was working as security, he was being investigated for excessive force after killing 8 attacks targeting his client, and his boss at the time reported him right after seeing his craziness. But then a guy showed up who hired him as personal security and even gave him a new identity, and it was this man who changed his life and brought him there. And this man is none other than Michael Lee, the head of the Pawn military company. And the irritated director says that without a contact like that, people are worth nothing. But Muk says that with the stamina drug he received, gross movements have no limit. So it is no surprise that he is in the top 5. And in 4th place, he is President Sang Surin, the head of the largest construction company in the country, Arif Construsake. He is Gun, a Taekwondo master of combat, and he grew up respecting his father, a traditional Taekwondo master. But for some reason, he had a different path to combat Taekwondo. And the director asks how that is Taekwondo, and if it is not an art used only in sports. But my friend, a while back, they made a documentary about capoeira with several martial arts masters. So they did a test to measure the strength and speed from each martial art, and most scored between 408 kilograms and 680 kilograms of force. But the from capoeira hit 862 kilograms, leaving everyone speechless. But the last martial art tested was precisely Taekwondo, and from what he heard, Kick's mark was nothing less than 1,043 kilograms. Okay, that is a lot. The director asks if it is serious, and Mok says that Gin Go is special. He is a specialist and a combat technician, and with his improvement in elasticity, no one in the entire wing could match his strength. And 3rd in the ranking is someone invited by President Izugo, the boss of the pharmaceutical company, Boo, and his name is Ryan. He is a doping addict, and he has done everything to strengthen himself, including various experiments and drugs, and he was crazy enough to put a steel plate in his bone, and with the drugs affecting his brain, he became a mentally unstable fighter. And in 2nd place is a wanted criminal, Taring Ma, who is a killer, and he was hired by Dong Gu, president of the largest private loan company, Fine Life. And the director says he does not believe an idiot like Dong Gu managed to hire 2nd place, and Muk says he does not know much about this fighter, but one thing is certain, he is a psychopath, came to enjoy the thrill of killing without being caught, and the way he fights is very different and totally overwhelming, and most of his opponents died without without even realizing what happened. And the very irritated lawyer says that this is a drug, and they are all monsters. But Miss Oak says the true abomination would be the current #1, and also the former champion. And the director asks if it is #1. So he means just then to interrupt the two. Someone breaks the door, startling the director, asking who he is, and this guy is smiling. Just says sorry, and he can't control his strength. This guy is #1, the so-called Kang, a Gurkha mercenary. And this director falls to the ground, scared, shouting for the guide, and two drones appear right in front of him, and right behind him. Someone walks through the door, calling the director an idiot, and the director recognizes as this is his brother, the oldest son of the group, Rosen, the executive director, and he asks his younger brother, he really thought he would win by coming here, and he does not need to place bets and pack his bags to leave, and he brought a student for a bet, risking his position. He is truly an impossible idiot, which made the director very angry, unable to say anything, and his brother says he knows what happens when you break a certified bet from the combat wing, and it is better not to ask for his help when he leaves the company. So he should have fun with the little kid he brought. And after the two leave, the director gets really pissed off, saying it is a drag, and yells at Miss Ock, asking what he is doing, telling him to find someone who can beat that guy right now. And this is a drag, and it is already too late, and the winner will be one of the top 5. And Muka says the odds are high, but not necessarily, and the director asks, what do you mean? And Muka says that the effects of drugs can be unpredictable. After the second round of doping among the top 16, some fighters might end up becoming favorite, and it might take a while. This type of fighter is not even looking for it, and the director, annoyed, asks if he has someone in mind. And Messi says that actually he has 5 people in mind. The first is the Iskika Rip, who will face his Nen. The others are Amanda Croach and the judo master Gang Jun, and the last 2 are the participants of the next round, the 2 underdogs in boxing, Minion King and Wu Choi. And finally, Minion faces this boxer and asks if by any chance he knows a guy named Minion King, and Choi wonders how he would not know, which shocks Minho a lot, leaving him boiling with rage because he finally found his brother's killer, and very pissed off, he says that then he knows his brother, while thinking that he threw everything away to find him. And at that moment, something shines in the boy's chest, which is probably his racing heartbeat, and he simply disappears from sight, and suddenly appears right in front of the box and throws a punch at his face at an abnormal speed, and asks what the hell he is, calling him a bastard, and continues to beat him up, making the boxer spit out a lot of blood right under his enemy. They wonder why he did that, and if he is really the psychopath, and he quickly lands a right hook right in the villain's face. He will be armed on the platform until he hits his back against the wall, and this Mishu approaches him, asking why he did that, and that boxer says that is enough, and Miss asks what he means and what he is talking about, and at that moment, it also shines on the boxer's chest, and he says he needed to make his drug take effect, and he quickly gets up and says he knows. He was wondering if there were different levels for speed drug, and he stops right in front of the kid, and when the kid tries to punch, that guy disappears from his sight and appears right next to him, quickly punching his, but Minho also disappears and appears at his side again, while the boxer just tells him to come back now, being even faster than Minho, which makes the kid worry, thinking he can't find his weak point, no matter how fast he moves, and so he says it seems like his theory is real, suddenly appearing right in front of Minho touching his face, and says he threw a punch at maximum speed, and he is just a little piece of shit, and throws another punch at his, feeling that pain. M thinks he can't end like this, but he gets thrown to the other side of the arena and falls to the ground. Willio goes up and says there is a chance he will need to take a few hits, but the effects of his drug are incredible, but to Ano's surprise, the boy keeps moving, and he goes to him and tells him to stop moving right now, because Gyuno will be able to say the fight is over, and if he really forces him, kill him, while M thinks about his brother and remembers the past when he trained with, and his brother said that when not just his opponent, but even he thinks it is over, he must take one last breath, and that will be his last chance. And does this humiliate remember that last breath, and something activates in his heart, and his drug has a surprising effect, and before Ano kicks him to finish him off, he disappears from his sight and appears right next to him at an incredibly fast speed to gain more momentum, and he says that he is a drug, he is getting faster after taking, and suddenly the boy appears right in front of him in an instant, which leaves Anon very surprised, thinking he needs to dodge at maximum speed, and at that moment he turns at his maximum speed, but the boy dodges and appears right in front of him, surprising An a lot, and if he tries to turn around, he falls to the ground thinking he is a drug, and very scared, he realizes he won't be able to dodge, and he asks why he killed his brother, saying he is a bastard. What surprises a lot is that the year does not understand what he is talking about, but quickly he gets punched right in the face, and is thrown against the arena. What surprises everyone, making the director shocked, is that even the hospital director realizes this is the second transformation, and with the year on the ground spitting blood, mine is right above, ready to finish him off, and says he will ask one last time why he killed his brother, and the year admits it was true. Mung was murdered, and I wonder how that is, what he is talking about, and if he was not the one who killed him. For this attack, I ask if he did not kill him, and if he really knows his brother. And Anna says, how would a boxer not know the champion who defended titles the most in history? And mine then asks who would do that, and the year says there is an addict who is a mix of champions in boxing, and this Minho is surprised by this, and starts shouting asking who he is, telling him to speak before he faints. But just then the drone aims at Minho and says that the year try is unable to continue, so the match ends with Minion King's victory, and the bets are increasing. Looking at the tablet, that doctor says this Minho guy is incredible, and the hospital director says he went through the second transformation without any drug, while the doctor mentioned that it seems the results of his experiments are starting to show, and although it is still not at the same level as the first transcendent who transcended everything 20 years ago, some fighters are reaching 80% of the transformation, and the director says that after the first transcendent disappeared, they have been testing his Da based on that. It is still not surprising that surpassing him is, and if he had not disappeared, that would be something amazing, and he still wonders where the hell he ended up. And now you go back to our boy's room, testing his calcs, thinking that he needs to be stronger, but that smiling guy next to him asks why he does not take a break, and he asks he is trying to take down the place with all those cracks in the middle of the room, and even his broken capsule, and that smiling guy says if he keeps this up, he is going to faint before the match even starts. And our boy thinks that if he wants to be as strong as those monsters, he needs to figure something out, and so he remembers Yuk telling him that muscle pushed to the limit are not enough to cause damage and are destined to regenerate stronger than before. And the most important thing for muscles is to sleep, and if he could split his day in half, alternating between training to the limit and sleeping deeply twice a day, he would grow twice as strong as people who train the same amount of time. And even though that requires an absurd recovery ability, just like his, and our boy thinks that no, twice is not enough. He needs to be stronger than everyone else. And if he sits in his caps and that guy in front asks him if he is going to sleep now, our boy starts taking the weights off his ankle and throwing them on the ground. That weight cracks the floor itself, and that smiling psychopath says he already told him to prepare to die and not to kill himself. And he simply lies down in his capsule and is ready to sleep while thinking that this is the third time. And as he says, he is going to trust his recovery speed. And as soon as he closes the capsule, that guy next to him says he trains 3 times a day and wonders if he really wants him to recover with 3 little naps. But if he can do it, things are really going to get more interesting. And at that moment, the drone calls Menon, asking him to please enter the main arena. And Menon says of course. He hopes it is at least fun this time. As he walks through the door, in another room, ranked 15 is doing his training, levitating in the air with his hand pressed against the wall. And back to the VIP. The director asks if Gang is not one of the candidates, the top 5 he mentioned. And Muck says yes. He has an insane grip strength with his enhanced. He can even crush muscles and bones. So any participants caught by him lose immediately. But the worst part is his judo that uses that grip strength. And since even the participants who received enhancement drugs had their bones shattered into pieces in the moment they were thrown to the ground. And this guy is a monster. And the director asks if his opponent is not that kid who is ranked 45th. And he probably is not worth it, but still, he wants to see that fight. It is just that Muck says he does not have any information about it. And the director asks how. And the assistant says it seems he was chosen directly by the combat division and they have no information about his past or the martial art he practiced. And they know absolutely nothing. And he also has not watched any of his match. But the strange thing about him is that the effect of his drug has not been discovered yet. And so the psychopath enters the arena and right in front of that gang appears. And with both ready, the drone goes to them. And I do not know who will start the fight between Gang Joe and Menon. And this young says there is no need to stall anymore. He is going to finish this with just 1 hit. But to his surprise, Menno is right in front of him saying, alright. And quickly he is already on your back saying that they are open. But to the surprise of Menno, that Gang manages to hit him and grabs his arm saying he is going to give him a smack. And as he grabs Menno, he tries to throw him to the ground. And Menno, smiling, says that he really was. And this Yang slams Menno's body to the ground, throwing a punch at him, making Menno scream in pain and wonder what the hell just happened. And right in front of him, the director says that he was thrown to the ground. That was amazing. While Muck says that he knew he was good, but did not think he would be that fat. That was ridiculous. And this drone goes to the 2 and says that the match has ended with Gang Joe unable to continue. And simply that Gang starts to drool while the drone announces that the winner is Menno. And the director, cold and confused, wonders what the hell happened and why Gang lost. And even Miss is shocked by that scene saying she does not know. That has never happened before and he has no idea what happened. And so Menno, pinned to the ground, starts to stick his tongue out and thinks that his must be awake now and he will see if he toasted properly or if he accidentally burned. And now, back in room 10, capsule finally opens and our boy starts to wake up. When he wakes up, he starts to notice his fist, saying he feels different and wondered maybe it worked. But he thinks that whether it worked or not, he needs to keep going. He wonders if his mom is okay, if he can trust that woman, and he needs to talk to that bastard, the talent scout. And as the drone approaches, it says he has been summoned by the talent scout, which completely shocks him. He heads to the room and Muck tells him he can take off the blindfold now and says it is good to see him again. He grabs him angrily and says he is a bastard, but Miss tells him to wait, calm down, and he won't gain anything by dying there. But he says there is nothing left for him to lose now. So it is better, he answers, and tells him to speak up. He knows where his parents are. And Muck says of course he does. He asks how so, and Missik says he is taking care of them while he talks. But our boy can lie because he saw the guy talking in the control room about getting rid of his parents. But Muck said the VIP really asked him to do that. But he told him that if his parents disappeared, he would keep taking care of them. And our boy asks what he is talking about. And Miss says that depending on whether he can use the drugs or not, he has already put everything on. And the VIP won't have any choice but to trust. But if I do not talk to that woman, she said something different. But my guy interrupted asking if he really thinks that what he recovered was said by one of his employees, which surprised our boy a lot, not understanding anything. This is what he heard about his parents dying as soon as he woke up. And then a woman named Seong Gian visited him at the same time. And does he really think this is all just a coincidence? And what if she happens to say she would take care of his parents? And he says very well. He must know she is lying. He was even expelled from the company by his own father to protect his 2 children. But our boy asks if he thinks he is an idiot and how he can believe that. And that woman knew a lot about his parents. And Mill asks if she can prove it right then and there. And our boy says no, since they do not allow bringing anything in there. But Millik asks, so what is that? And he shows him his wrist. And he does not ask what he is doing. But he notices something that is a writing, his mother's handwriting. And this M says that she even wrote the date. So he already knows where his parents are. And our boy says there is no way to forge her handwriting. And Miss says that it is his choice to believe in him or not. But he is going to tell what he is planning first so his boss will be interested in him again. He exaggerated in his report about his opponent's skills to make him interested in. So if he wins, the chair writes 1T have any reason to choose another fighter. And as soon as that happens, all you need to do is win with them and all your problems will be solved. Our kid quickly asks who his next opponent is, and that one down there in the arena. That Ithaca River finally came in. And our boy remembered Book telling him not to forget that Cian is not interested in winning the championship. She just wants to ruin her brother's plan. In other words, she has no reason to protect her parent. And if he chooses to work starting from the top 16, he also won't protect parents anymore. And our boy thinks it is a bummer. Those bastards. He does not know who he can trust. And regardless of who is telling the truth, he does not have time to think about that now. Because it 1T matter, he does not win against a guy who looks like came straight out of Street Fighter over there in the Zips room. The teacher director says that if his is eliminated this round, it will be wonderful for Songs. And over there, that girl is is watching her brother saying he wants to see who will be smiling at the end of this fight. And this river sets up its base. And our boy too, thinking that given his position, he is probably the attacking type, and maybe a kick to the calf will work well on him. And besides that, he is feeling good today. And so, he tries to kick him, but the river lifts its leg, and our boy thinks if he kicks him, he will dodge and counterattack. But the opponent caught in that river grabs him right by the neck and throws him to the ground, making our boy spit out a lot of blood. And quickly the river tries to punch him against the arena. The sleepy one manages to get out of it. And that director thought his specialty was attack, and he does not know he has wrestling skill. And Muk sets limits for Master Ryoika's attack. And the director asks, "What do you mean?" And Muk says that in CUD they practice all kinds of techniques, such as throws and wrestling holds as well as kicks and punches. And besides that, they even use headbutts and groin strikes. And their practices involve any attack causes damage to the body. Facing the river in hand-to-hand combat will bleed hell. And so the river faces our boy and wonders who this guy is and why he is not a little scared, while he quickly sees our boy charging at him, throwing a punch at his head. But he manages to dodge, and right below he punches him in the stomach, making our hero spit out a lot of blood, fall to the ground. And that director says that finally, he seems to have dealt with that kid. And so the river looks at him again, gets very serious, thinking that his son is smiling. Then he moves forward wanting to see if he will keep it up. But to the river's surprise, our boy charges at him trying to grab him. And the river asks if he really thought that would work, and now he can use more attack technique. But to his surprise, our boy bites his leg, and the river wonders what this crazy guy is doing and knees him in the stomach and asks if by any chance he is the of an animal. But to the river's surprise, our boy opens his mouth and tries to bite him again. But Ryo manages to kick him. The last second move dodges it, and Ryo thinks this jerk almost fell for his little game and his was too weak because he did not get in the right position. And he says he is a loser and wonders if he by any chance the of a beast. But our dude starts laughing while the director wonders what the hell this is and tells me he forgot about it for a moment. But actually, he is the one who is not bound by any rule, and he quickly charges at him while Ryo says he won't let him get close. But to his surprise, our girl bows her head, and that guy wonders if he really did not try to bite and went straight for his leg, and so he tells him to fall again, ready to punch him. But when he realizes it, there is a leg right in front of him kicking his head, leaving the director completely shocked, wondering if that is really a capoeira technique. And this scene flashes back like asking Amanda if maybe he could use his capoeira techniques directly on him, and she looks at him very serious and says it seems like he is thinking he is industry, and is he by any chance underestimating her capoeira? And quickly she crouches down and kicks him in the face, throwing him to the ground. And seeing him fall, she asks if he discovered some kind of crazy talent that lets him copy any skill they got right. Meanwhile, down in the valley, he just smiles at her, and returning to the present, he kicks the river, making it disorient, but he manages to grab its leg and tries to kick its head while it is upside down. And the excited director says that is it and tells him to give it in the face. But to everyone's surprise, our boy throws himself up, dodging the river's attack. Meanwhile, our wonders if he can really move like that, and our boy simply kicks him in the face, making his face get all smashed up and throwing him against the ground. At the last moment, he manages to support himself. This one also supports himself, thinks that his body is moving the way he wants. One more kick to the calf and it is over for him, but he looks at him, quite surprised, and that river makes a strange move and says that his unpredictable wild movement are really something. He did not expect that, but from now on, he will see him as a beast and will hunt him down, quickly appearing right in front of him, while our worried boy thinks that he got ridiculously faster out of nowhere and wonders his drug was not for strength. And the river prepares for the attack, realizing he is going to throw a punch, and he is sure he can dodge and counterattack after, but to our boy's surprise, he gets headbutted and is very shocked, wondering how he did not see that coming. Then he gets punched in the stomach and thinks he needs to pull himself together or else he is going to lose. And so Ryo gets very serious and tells him to say goodbye to his rib, hitting him several times in the same spot, and our boy falls to the ground, spitting blood. It is while Ryo thinks it is time to finish him off, and he delivers a kick right in his gut, looking at his. They ask if he is already knocked out, and he believes it up there, and gets very excited saying it was supposed to be over for everyone to say he is done. But the girl in his class, she remains excited just watching the fight, and our boy, smiling, grabs Ryo's foot, and Ryo asks if he really woke up again. But it does not make a difference as he is going to lose again, and he quickly headbutts him once more. But this time to everyone's surprise, it was him who ended up losing. They ask if Din practiced headbutting. Quickly our boy appears at his side, and Ryo thinks he can't even call him a fool. This thing is more like a monster, but he is sure he hit him hard, and then, this is probably some kind of side effect from the drug with our boy, right behind him, and he thinks he just needs to block, and then he makes his final attack. At that moment, our boy is going to kick his calf, but Ryo is faster and grabs his leg and says he got him. But at that moment, our boy takes his leg off him and just tears his pants, and the river thinks it could not come up with any, while our boy is right trying to give another, and the river says that if he can't dodge now, he just has to defend himself head on without putting force into his leg, trying to protect himself. But to his surprise, his leg was broken, and he starts screaming in pain, while the director up there says this is a mess. His leg broke and he wonders how he can't move so much, and the river, very serious, says he is sorry, but his little show ended up punching him in the stomach, making our boy break into a huge smile and rush quickly to his other leg to break it along with the other one. And the river simply falls to the ground with both legs broken, while our boy spit blood and falls to the ground too. And now with both of them down on the ground, the drone flies over them and says that the Ithaca River is unable to continue. So the winner of the match is your Kang, with our boy gasping on the ground, and the director up there starts shouting that this is a mess. How could this happen? While his sister in another room says that is why she likes him, and staring at our hero fallen on the ground, the director starts shouting that his N is conscious too, which means both are unable to fight. But the assistant thinks that might not be the case, and the director asks, what do you mean? And the assistant says that San is just sleeping. And in another room, the girl's security guard says that now is not the time for him to sleep, but the girl says that, as he imagined, people are not voting for him, and the security guard said that no one would support a fighter who faints during the fight. And now that the top 31 has been confirmed, the top 16 will be based on the number of bets on them, but his number is last, and besides that, if they They announce the top 16 before he wakes up. He might not even have the chance to choose a VIP to support him, and he thinks she should look for another fighter in his place. And the girl asks how much money she has available at the moment, and the confused security guard asks what she is planning, and the problem is people not betting on him. So the only thing she needs to do is put him at the top with her own money. But the security guard gets even more confused and asks if she really has all that money to lose like that. But she just tells him to wait because she is just getting started. And then a drone starts saying that there will soon be a meeting about the next round, and all 31 players who won must participate in this meeting. And at that moment all the fighters enter the arena, surviving in their drone, while the blonde boy notices his end sleeping on the ground. While he is feeling unsure, he is wondering if he should wake him up before the meeting starts. Just then, on the big screen, the arena director starts talking about welcoming the winners from the last round, as well as the 16 VIPs who will be joining today. And as mentioned before, the top 16 for the next round will be decided based on the amount of bets on each player. So he asks the VIPs to please place their bets on the players they believe will yield the most profit, and gives them all 30 seconds to make their final bet. And the girl asks him what the difference in betting is between him and the top 16. And the guy says it is nothing less than 2 billion, and he will probably get in during the last 10 seconds. Without thinking twice, the girl tells him to bet everything on his player right now, leaving him quite worried, and he says it is 4 million and it will all be wasted if he does not make the top 16. And he tells her to ditch his player and go for another fighter, but she says it is fine, just tells him to bet it all. He is still confused and asks why she is doing all this, and she gets frustrated and starts shouting. That makes him do what she told him to do right away, and so, the last sec, he bets everything while saying it is a mess, and he transferred all the money as she instructed, and she used so much of his money just to keep her brothers alert. So why does she want to risk everything now? And she asks what his current rank is, and he says that the were hidden at the start of the count, and she says she will have to wait for the announcement. And after a few minutes, the arena director starts saying that they will announce the rank now, starting with the top 5, and in first place is Kang, the mercenary, Gurkha, second is Ryan, third is John Gogo, fourth is Left, fifth is Tiramar, and back. That kid starts getting really staring at the screen and seeing that the second place, Ryan, is a boxer, and he gets really nervous thinking that there is still a boxer in this game. And the director continues saying that they will move on to the next 5, and sixth is Lamb, seventh is Amanda, eighth is Yongo, ninth is the fifth, and 10th is Python. And the kid thinks that Amanda is 7th, and he wonders what he will do if he does not make. And the director continues with 5 more, with Miguel and Ella, Bishop in 12, Song Beyond in 13, and C in 14th, in 15, Ricardo. And back in the VIP room, the assistant starts saying that there is only 1 spot left, and the girl starts looking down and staring at our kid lying on the ground asleep. And the director continues saying that last but not least, in 16th place, with a total of bets of 4.6 billion, an old street fighter, the good Solgo. Shock is very nervous about this, and the director said that with this they close the positions of the best ones based on the prize money, while more. Nan is sleeping on the floor, and the assistant starts saying it is a bummer. This is very bad, and all that is left is the company building, the firm's account, and the shares. And he says that she used up all the available money, and why out of nowhere she made such an impossible decision. But the girl gets really serious and staring at the arena. Meanwhile, in another room, her brother starts laughing and says that Song Gong's face must look amazing right now, and she used 4 billion and still got eliminated. But the assistant says it is not over yet, and the director asks, what do you mean by what he is talking about? While the girl gives a little smile waiting for the director's announcement, and the director starts saying that now they will begin the selection of extra participants, which shocks her brother, who says that the top 16 has already been decided, and he can't do that. But the director continues saying that to make things even more exciting for the 16 VIP and the event of choosing the 16, they will add 4 more names to the list, and all the fighters out start celebrating. As the director says, 4 will be selected fight among the remaining 15 participating off in life death duels until only 4 remain victorious, and all the fighters start glaring at each other while our guy keeps sleeping. And the director says Tissa, who are already in the top 16, should head to the stands, and the blonde is leaving while he sees our boy still sleeping, and he is going to have his dream of waking up if he does not want to die now. But at that moment, his drone appears and says that any physical contact between the participant or the match is prohibited, so he asks him to please step back, and the kid just thinks it is a drag, and he passed out right after the match with no chance of waking up in time. But he has no choice, the rest depends on his luck, and once again the guy remains asleep. And after the others leave, the arena simply opens up, leaving only the center circle, and the participants ask, what the hell is this, and what is happening over there? And the director starts announcing that at the bottom of the pit surrounding the arena are metal stakes embedded with electric chain, and so it is good to pay attention to where they step during the fight. And there in the corner next to the stake is our boy still sleeping, and the assistant starts saying that they won't start the fight soon, but he will be killed instantly. And there in the other VIP room, the director begins to say that this is the perfect time to get rid of this insignificant and slap his little sister in the face. And so a director of the arena says that now for the 15 eliminated, the life or death duel must begin, and everyone already charges at each other, fighting for their lives, and a lot of blood is shed. And there in the VIP room, the assistant starts saying that no one is attacking his, and in a situation as chaotic as this, no one has time to focus on his, which is lying on the ground. The girl starts saying that they will see how long this will last, because that boy needs to wake up now. And at that moment, one of the participants is kicked out, falling onto the stakes and being pierced, and also electric, and another one falls, so that is 2 eliminated. But while one of them is fighting, he notices our boy lying on the ground, and he gets really excited saying that there is a lazy person sleeping on the ground, and that is great, and it is time for him to leave now. He is getting ready to. Meanwhile, back in the VIP room, Yoon is just shouting that no, he can't do that. But at that moment, your friend shows up to defend him with a punch to his face. M gets really pissed off having to help this idiot, while Seong-Gian is quite surprised by this attitude. M starts shouting for his to wake up now. He does not want to die, and it is better for him to wake up right now, because otherwise both will be killed. After he shouts that, 3 guys come at him while he is thinking, how can he block 3 people at this shitty speed? Quickly he blocks 2 with 2 powerful powerful punches just as they pass him while he realizes that his is screwed. That guy gets really excited to take down your boy and tells him to enjoy this fall now, calling him an idiot. But in this second he receives the attention of that psychopath. It is when that crazy guy said that the prince always saves the sleeping princess, and even the miss asks what M is doing there. And after that guy gets kicked, he obviously dies, while the hair guy gets punched. He says they are the loser, and he wants to see how they can stop his top speed while applying pressure on their feet and running towards Menon, trying to knock him down. It is when he passes at abnormal speed right in front of Minho's eyes. But obviously, M is much faster than him and appears right above, getting ready to tackle. The hair guy asks what the hell kind of abnormal speed that is while receiving a tremendous punch to the face that gets smashed against the ground. But that other guy from before appears behind Minho and starts choking, saying he caught him and anyone faster than him must die, while M is running out of breath being choked. But at that moment, he receives it in his ear, obviously from the psychopath Minho, who looks at him like he is crazy. And at that moment, 3, 4, 5, 7 participants were eliminated and 8 remained. And after he is suffocated, the boy is left gasping for air, while M is laughing and says it is not nap time yet, while helping him up. And M just says no, he is not going to sleep because he has insomnia. But M does not say that apparently they won't make it easy, and M asks what do you mean by they, while he saw 4 guys ready to fight. The little one in front says that apparently they are fighting as a group, and the blonde said that they should be the only living group, and the other group obviously have to die because the 4 of them will be the last ones standing. And one of them starts to say that they are 4 and they are 3. That is not true, because if they ignore the guy on the ground, it is 4 against 2, and the masked one gets really excited saying that this kill or be killed situation just got a lot easy, while the other Bamante says that they will get rid of the easiest one first, and the 4 start to move toward the 2, ready to finish them off. But M goes straight for the first one at high speed, smashing him with a punch while his back crushes him from behind. But that blonde guy gets past the others and grabs M by the neck, trying to choke him again while M starts to blood. Quick, Menon kicks him in the face, saving Minho. But that brute underneath grabs Minho right away, making him not let go, while saying that if he has him in his hand, he does not stand a chance. Quickly, the minion already goes to save, trying to throw it, but soon after gets in the back and blood again, while the little one passes through everyone and advances, push his butt against the metal stakes. While M starts yelling that no, he can't do that. The last second, Minho manages to stretch his arm and pull that guy's pant, making his strike miss by a hair, just grazing the Sue's head, while Mill thinks thank goodness. If he could not do that, Sue would already be dead now. But to everyone's shock, the ground simply breaks, and that little tip of the arena turns into a crater that collapses, obviously taking our boy down with it. And so Ginho in the VIP room starts screaming that no, this can't happen, while Mun yells for him not to wake up now, and that he should remember his mother and his promise. But at that moment, everyone hears a noise of someone making contact with those stakes, and Gu gets pretty scared while M also looks very frightened. And that fighter says it is 4 against 2 now, and they will kill them and take their positions. But Minho is still smiling. He asks who said there are only 2 left, while Mel's asks what he is talking about. Just below everyone, right by the stake, is our boy standing on a huge rock, and the assistant goes crazy at that moment saying that piece of concrete just saved his life. He really is a very lucky boy. And that little guy quickly grabs Minho, trying to choke him, while he tells the others that they should each hold one, and the other 2 should go for what is coming up, while he continues to hold Menon and Minho. And soon down there, our boy finally wakes up and makes a big jump, wanting to go back to the arena. And after he jumps, he faces 2 fighters ready to block, while the one holding Minho tells you to take care of this bastard and send him back down. And do not let our boy step on the platform, where he is already about to grab him, asking what it feels like to be caught, while the blonde laughs and says they will take him down one by one. But to everyone's shock, he grabs the arm of that masked guy. They ask, the hell is this? And the blonde gets nervous and goes after him, telling him to die. Quickly, the masked guy grabs the blonde's head and smashes it against his own, and the 2 fall unconscious. And once again, the scoreboard announces that 2 participants eliminated, and now only 6 remain. And the smaller one gets pretty excited, saying it was starting to get boring, but now it is time to end it. And that guy asks what he is talking about and how it is getting boring. And at that moment, just one leg, Menon throws himself up while that guy looks really scared, wondering how he did that. He starts screaming for help, asking for assistance as he falls like a cannonball toward the platform, being crushed by Menon's body. And obvious, the participant is eliminated. And at that moment, he steps up to Minho while he wants to wait for him now, because they can talk, and he quickly lets Minho go. But to his surprise, the one waiting right behind was that crazy blonde guy with his arm broke, and he just tells him to get lost unless he wants to be the last one eliminated. And after he runs off, asks Mensu what the hell he is doing, and this is a kill or be killed situation. He should defeat him, but Mew says that some old man gave him a little show, and that really affected his popularity, showing his broken arm. And at that moment, he gets really angry and goes after Minsu, telling him to shut up, saying he is just a loser. Quickly, with his broken arm, Musu blocks the attack and asks, thinks he can win just because he was hurt, and obviously not. But the guy does not get very angry and tells him to shut his mouth, saying he is a loser. But when the 2 fight, the drones announce that the game is over and tell them to please back off, while he wonders what the hell is this and where that loser went. But when he looks to the side, Emma's gone through everyone and defeated that long-haired guy. At this moment, only 4 participants are left, and the director begins to announce 4 winners have been decided. Moonin, the money, Menon, Emro, Nukang, and the assistant gets really excited about it, saying that it is great and they still have a chance. And the arena director starts to speak, and at this moment they have a list of 20 participants for the selection events. And before they start, they will give the 16 VIPs a chance to meet with with their chosen participant, and the drones begin to signal, indicating who will meet with their VIP, and the drone goes to him and says that he has 2 meetings, one in room 16 and another in the recovery room, and he asks, what do you mean 2? While the drone asks which one he will choose, while he wonders if he really has to choose something like that, and with his choice, he went to the recovery room, while the analysts help him recover, and the assistant right next to him asks how he knew it was him, but our little guy says no, he just chose the option that helped him recover fast, and so an assistant says that he can only win 3 hours for himself, and after that, the VIP selection event begins, but he has their full support to recover for the next 3 hours, and Miss Center Gun and he both need it. But what really matters that we are taking care of their relatives while our boy is thinking about his dad and asking someone to hold on just a little longer because he is already on his way. And now in the VIP room, the assistant says there are only a few minutes left, and then he asks why they can meet with Sia, but the drone says that Si and Kang gave his 3 meeting hours to someone else, which shocks the assistant, making him really mad about it. Just then, the director starts to announce they have now begun the event to choose the 16 bet, and the real show is about to start. And now back in the VIP room, the assistant asks why they can't even talk while he heads to the arena, and the drone says that meetings outside the reserve time are prohibited, and he says it is a drag and asks why the talent scout told him that and why he did not come to meet him right in front of. Just as a girl picks up a star tiara and gets really excited about it while the guy wonders where that came from and why she is so happy. And so the guy says that this is her lucky tiara, leaving his assistant completely confused. And now, back in the arena, the director says congratulations to them for being qualified in the event to choose the top 20, and everyone is lined up respectively in their position, and there at the end are Amanda, Minho, Mena, and Suno, and the director begins to explain that the players have the priority to choose a partner, compete until the end. However, the Viper rejects the player. The player will have to wait until the next selection round, and after the 16 teams are formed, 4 remaining players will be eliminated immediately, and Menno starts to say that low-ranked players like them need to choose the weaker if M. What do you mean? And M does not explain that the more powerful the VIP, the more fighters will go to, and if you get rejected, you won't have much chance until the second round. And my question is, what do you mean? And why would not they have any chance in the second round? And may not, smiling as always, says it is pretty simple. The VIPs hate the idea of taking trash from others, and M says that is true. So why would the fighters all go to the same VIP? And he asks if there is any which one will they go to in the end, if the money is the same. But Menno laughs and says it is different for him. Most people are risking their lives and choosing the VIP, right? They not only have the chance to enter high society, but they also have someone powerful backing them, much more than just money. And besides that, they will want someone who can cover up all the crimes they have committed and will commit in the future. What the hell is that? So at the very least, they have to choose 4 different VIPs. And this Mayan says he had a meeting with an investment company called Giadia, so he thinks he will talk, and Amanda says she chooses Rand's group, and Minho asks, what do you mean Rand's group? And that is the second largest company after Rocham, and he asks if 8th place is that amazing. So since he chose her, he is going to pick the least popular VIP. So it is a surprise coming from Decaminamentos, catching his Enko off guard, and this less cheerful guy asks who he is going to choose while he looks very serious. And there in the VIP room, the director says it is a bummer, and who would have thought that his new would survive? But his assistant said that when he scanned his body in the recovery room, he showed an absurd recovery and a remarkable increase in muscle density in just 2 hours. And if it is a drug enhancement, maybe he is not as strong as the other placed fighter, but as the game's progress, he might become as strong as those who took the first round of drug, and he is way beyond an outlier. So he does not even know how strong he can become moving forward, as he is a box of surprises, and out of all the other fighters, he is definitely the most unpredictable. The director, though, gets really angry, not caring about anything, and says that any way he can let the Gian catch him like this. The assistant says he won't choose her because he saw her mom's message, and at that moment, the director tells the players to please stand in front of their chosen VIP, with each of them facing their VIP, and the first child from the Razum group, the executive director, and Khan ended up first, and in the Fine Life group from Sea of Dogson Park, the second place is Ryan, and facing Ryan, my guy gets really mad and realizes he is the only remaining boxer, and he is not going to wait, because he is going to wipe that smile off his face, and if the kid says cool, first 2 have already gone, and they need to go too, and he tells his guy to choose his, and so he heads toward 2 different VIP, the director and a guy from the Rawson group, and a person from entertainment, but he goes toward the director, while the assistant next to him gets angry, because he is not going to choose them, and the director starts laughing, telling him to come over, and finally he will get to see the defeated look on her face, and as he steps in front of the director, he gets serious, and lets out a sigh, while saying that his mom makes disgusting soup, so he just tells them to go to hell, the bird at both, leaving them very nervous, and Guion is very happy talking about how he recognized, and our boy's choice was with the entertainment of Cheyenne Sion. Guion is with his new kind, the 20th place street fighter, and at that moment the scene goes back to the past, Guion talking to a lady and asking what that was, while this lady, who is his mother, says that this is a memory of theirs, and then someone asks if a tough guy like him would really have a little thing like that, which is a tiara, and it is really cute, while his mother says that on his 6th birthday, they went to an amusement park for the first and last time, and so someone asks how it was the last time, and his mother says that they were always running away from loan sharks, so they were too scared to walk around and had to be careful about everything, so they always avoided anything that would draw attention, but her little son chose the tiara because it was brighter and more eye-catching, and insisted that they wear it together, and she could not say no to her dear son, knowing that this might be their last visit, and at that time they were not only running away from loan shark, but her health was getting worse and worse, and she got all nervous wearing that, and ended up letting go of his hand in the crowd, and when she realized what had happened, she panicked immediately, but her son found her because of that tiara. That is how he recognized. He always brought her along, and even now that tiara must make him feel more at ease. Back in the present, our boy looks at his guide and notices the tiara on his head, and he just stares at that tiara, remembering his mother. In that moment, the 2 are connected and the choice is complete, and the younger one gets a bit irritated and says he'd her first, but he will be an adult and let it go, and he looks at Minho and says he he bets he has someone in mind too. And M gets serious and thinks that yes, he is almost there, and remembers that mysterious guy told him he would talk a little about the VIP he should know, and he is the arch enemy of Insulgo, president of Bill, a pharmaceutical company that hired Ryan, the guy he plans to get revenge on, who if there is anyone willing to help, it should be him, because by defeating Ryan, he will get anything he wants, whether he wins the tournament or not. But M gets really confused and asks why he would go that far, and that guy says that his daughter became a victim of an extremely painkiller made by Tabaya and is suffering from addiction, and this guy has a score to settle with that president, and this big dude says it is a pleasure to meet him, thinks they will be great partners, and this king is linked to Get, the parent company of the clothing line in the country of CO Jason. And in another VIP room, an assistant tells his boss that it is as expected. It looks like the #1 fight has joined director Winken from the Rawson group, and this kid says that Win is a jerk, and just look at him all smiling, and this kid is part of the second largest corporation in the country, the Hen group, and it is and you guys should ask him if he really wants to choose that fighter. He might have seemed a bit weird in his approach, but his hair says it is nonsense, and he just expressed his admiration for her and her capoeira at a master's level, and this was linked to the Hen group. And then a guy over in the corner says that only he is left, but well, since he is not very popular, he needs to choose a VIP that others won't choose or even look at, but it won't be good for someone like him who has already been taken, and that one over there looks good, the one from Sky V Wong, and so he steps onto his platform and says that is how it is, who is going to be interested in a TV executive among the CEOs of giant companies out. But as soon as he steps onto the platform, he starts laughing and says it is very bright, only to his surprise, there are two brutes right behind him. While they ask what they are doing there, in the end, he will have to call attention, and Minho simply jumps off the platform and goes headfirst while striking this pose in front of his VIP, and M asks if he really thinks this can work, but to his shock, that VIP from TV gets really emotional saying it is wonderful and asks if his name is Minho, and he liked him a lot. But the assistant next to him tells his boss that now is not the time to look for new comedian, but Dorito asks who cares about that, and he has already decided. He is going with this Menon, and this Menon and the king of TV, Sunyo, are linked, and that man over there stares at his Enchu and tells him not to forget it was him who let him be with that girl while his Nas asks he is talking about, and now in the director's office he just keeps looking at everyone very happy and everything going according to the way a script wants. But his assistant tells him not to worry, as none of this matters. After all, he was just waiting for Si-Yun to form a duo with a weak fighter to throw his new out, and the director says that he is saying the fighter they got is that strong, but he tells him to forget about, as he is more curious about how he got to join them, and the assistant says he just needed to say one thing, that they would end his new together, and obviously he is talking about that psychopath who is already staring at our boy, making his new really nervous, and his assistant says here with that, they finally managed to convince the Mensu, and all he needed to do was use his new as bait, and the director asks if he got in touch with his new his assistant says that originally he did not plan to do that, but looking through Minsu's file, he found his name and realized that Minsu was after him, so it was just a fortunate opportunity, and he ended up discovering Minsu's potential for everyone else, but the director of Alo brought him in, so it was impossible for him to meet him unless he chose them on his own, and it turned out they had key to him from the very beginning, and he asked the director if that is not amazing, and the director gets pretty nervous and says yeah, it really is, and the confident assistant says he will surpass him and see, and he will be as strong as the 5 best fighters, and after that, the director starts talking about how all the VIPs were selected, and the 4 participants without VIPs were immediately eliminated, and now the 16 that remain will participate in the round of 16, and after that, pairs of VIP fighters will be announced. The director says that now all the players must wait their respective VIP for the round of 16 match, and the assistant tells Gian that it looks like they will finally meet after everything they have been through, and he is feeling kind of awkward now, just imagining being in a room with that quiet, serious guy, and at that moment, our boy opens the door and faces the two, and he walks forward towards the girl, and the girl says it seems like he has finally recovered, and his body is 100%, but to everyone's surprise, our boy grabs her and asks, but she interrupts him and asks he wants to thank, and he says yes and he feels very sorry, but he asks if she could, but she interrupts him again, and tells him not to worry, because they are safe in one of his private property, and besides, he does not need to thank, and she is just investing in a strong fighter capable of winning the tournament, and at that moment, the assistant gets really nervous about it, and asks please let her go, and our boy realizes the mess he made and apologizes to her, and he was just excited to see his mom's tiara, but at that moment, a beep sounds and the rights of the wings say they will announce the next match, and the matches are left, ranked 4th against him, ranked 14th, then comes Ryan in 2nd place, against Michael in 10th, after that, Taryn in 5th place, against the 7th rank, Amanda Croach, right after Menno in 15th place, against Yongal in 8th, and then Cam 1st place, against 12th Ricardo, shortly after Minzwa in 177th, against Python in 9th, in 11th, against Lohan in 6th, and finally, Yun Go, 3rd place against Cian Kang, the 16th place, and watching the match, the assistant is quite worried and says that he already lost to the 3rd, and this match is going to be extremely difficult, but the girl says that if they want to win, they have to take good care of recovery, and their new illusion facing someone with a punch is going to be quite hated, since every punch that comes from him has absurd strength, except that the assistant, who is very nervous, asks the sleepy one why he is so calm while he is not saying anything, and the girl says, just look at how confident he must be right now, and that is exactly why he invests, and at that moment, the right one starts to say that the match orders are random, and the first match will be the first play against Ricardo in 12th, and both use the strength drug, and this assistant keeps saying that finally, they will see the match of the mercenary Gorp, and for him to eventually win, they will both have to face each other, so he must pay close attention and not miss any detail, and so Gian asks about the mercenary Gorp, and she wants to know if he is really that terrifying, and the assistant says that his mercenary group is known as the best, and among the 3 best mercenary groups in the world, born and raised in the highest mountains in the world, their cardiovascular endurance is well above average, and besides that, their energy is incredible from always running on tough terrain, and they are all renowned, having become one of the biggest attractions in Nepal and a major tourist draw, and Gu says that he was already stronger than the other, even before the drug, and with it now, he has become a true monster. But the assistant tells her to look at his face, and even after seeing a monster, he seems very calm, as if his victory is already guaranteed. And Gian gets quite excited and says of course, because he is her fighter, while he does not respond at all, and the assistant says that finally, even among the Gurkha mercenaries, that guy is very famous, besides being the former champ. And at that moment, that brute enters the arena against the 12th ranked Ricardo, a master in Jujutsu, and his VIP hand from the Ona Corporation, and this skinny guy starts saying that people have probably already dismissed Ricardo, but soon he will surprise everyone, and Kay suffered a lot during his climb to first place. He is no longer at his peak. On the other hand, Ricardo is fresh, since all of his opponents have lost their arms and legs, facing him head on, and at that moment, the director of the ward begins to say that before the match starts, they will have the second round of dope, and with the drug right in front of him, Ricardo gets really excited, saying that now he wants to see how strong he will get after taking this drug, and if he thinks twice, he injects the drug into himself, and his body starts to react, and at that moment, his body becomes unstable and he starts to scream in rage, but after a second he stabilizes, and the drone says that Ricardo successfully administered the drug, a speed drug, and Ricardo is really happy about it, saying that now not only is he very strong, but he is ultra fast and completely invincible. Meanwhile, Ucharja can at high speed, wow, very excited, tells him to fall inside, because he likes a good fight, and so, the moment Can throws a punch, Kid is faster and already appears right next to him, grabbing his arm with a hit, and his zips start to get really excited, telling him to catch him, while Ricardo gets even more hyped, saying that his rank does not matter, and now that he has caught him, he is in big trouble. He is already bending his arm to the point of breaking it, that gigantic arm. Meanwhile, Ken is really excited about it, and besides that, he says that he destroyed Kan's arm and he won. He defeated the Rasen group, and he is the big winner. But to Ricardo's surprise, that Ken is still twisted up but has not fallen yet, and they ask why he has not passed out, and what the hell is that man?